Hello again, everybody, and welcome to 4-Star Chicago Sports. Allergies are kicking my ass, kind of like the Cubs got their ass kicked last week, but they seem to be heading back in the right direction as they take Game 1 in the Crosstown Classic and somehow sneak out a win in Atlanta. We're going to break down what happened last week and how we can hopefully take care of the Brew Crew coming into town this week right after this.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars aligned. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute.
Good to face this guy with the bases empty.
Hit hard. Oh, Nico! And he steals a hit from Murakami.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's right, Nico. Woo! Stop it.
Superman.
Experience.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Cubs take Game 1 of the Crosstown Classic. Got a little dicey there in the middle, but they figured out how to get the dub on the south side yesterday. As we got into that ball game, it was nice to see the Bats, after a chilly week on the road, kind of pick it up. All 9 Cubs starters recorded a hit in the Crosstown Classic opener after going 1 for 34 with runners in scoring position yesterday, 6 of 14. The Cubs are now 11-1 in their last 12 against the White Sox, dating back to the walk-off home run by Christopher Morel in 2023. Before I turn it over to you, Kyle, get your thoughts on that opener yesterday. We got to talk about the hero of the day, and that was Trent Thornton. Even though the Cubs exploded after that, him coming in and bailing out, which I text Kyle right away, I thought was a terrible move before he threw a pitch, and bringing in Ryan Rollison into that ball game with the game on the line. Trent Thornton comes in, 2 on, nobody out, saves the day, continues that 60% ground ball rate by getting those, striking out 1, getting the double play, getting out of that inning. Kyle, I know you had the work yesterday. How much you get to see, how fun were the latter parts of that inning to see the Cubs actually hitting with runners in scoring position for once?
Yeah, I didn't see much, man. I didn't get to watch as much as I'd like. I did look at the box score, obviously, and it looks like Carson Kelly kind of carried the load on offense. And like you mentioned Thornton certainly was probably the most important pitcher yesterday. I mean, I don't know, man. It's tough to continue to give the Cubs grief for trying to find these like reclamation projects, but they keep doing it and it keeps working. And you're going to have your Ryan Rollisons of the world. That's what's going to happen when you go bargain shopping. But as long as they keep finding these Trent Thornton type guys, man, it's tough to continue to give the Cubs grief. I mean, this is like what they had Drew Pomerantz the year before. I thought it was David Robinson. I mean, every year they find one of these guys. And listen, I'm not saying that Thornton's going to continue to be this way for the rest of the season, but man, so far I've liked everything I've seen.
Hey, Erica, I'm worried about Cabrera. Give us a couple minutes. We're going to get into Cabrera here in this rotation because he's going to close out this big time Central showdown, which is essentially, no matter what happens over these next 2 days, is going to be for first place in the division. If either team sweeps one or the Brewers just continue on their hot May, which we're going to get into here very shortly as well. But yeah, it was nice. I was a little worried there, seeing the Sox. We know the Sox are still growing and becoming a good baseball team. But excuse me, guys, my allergies. I got so much post-nasal and my ears I can't.
I'm right there with you, man.
My allergies are just destroying my life right now. But you know what, we can get right. Let's get into it. We'll get into Cabrera in a minute. I want to get into this chilly offensive week that the Cubs had, because even in that game against the Atlanta Braves, on Sunday. They were or on Thursday, excuse me. They were still 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They wound up being 1 for 34 coming into this ball game against the White Sox on the south side yesterday. And as I stated when I opened the show, they found a way. They found a way to kind of erase their memory, and hear them talking in these post games like, hey, you know what? We know we're a good team. We're going to keep the faith even when we struggle. We're here to pick each other up. And they did that yesterday, 6 for 14 with runners in scoring position. It could have been even worse. It could have been even worse. It was a good throw from outfield, from the outfield. I can't remember who it was, and they gunned out Matt Shaw coming around. I mean, they had him by a mile. He probably shouldn't have been set. Quentin Berry again. Major question marks with some of his sends at third base throughout the season. I've questioned it a few times. That Matt Shaw, I mean, he was out by. I mean, they threw him out halfway down the line. Like, dude,
Yeah, I saw that. That one I saw. Of course.
He wasn't even close. I was sitting there, I'm watching the game, and I'm like, why are you sending him? And then they threw it. I'm like, God, I hope they cut that up. Nope, they didn't cut it off. He's out. But you know what? It was nice to see them kind of get back. And we knew it was going to be a tough road trip, going to Texas, going to Atlanta, a couple of tough pitching staffs there. I just didn't think it was going to be so ugly. I did like the fact, and Kyle, get your opinion here. I like the fact that even though they struggled to plate those runners, they still got runners in scoring position and were still putting pressure on the opposing team. So that was still kind of refreshing. It did give me a little bit of flashbacks to the second half of last year when the offense kind of sputtered. But it was nice again to see them bounce back last night. What were your thoughts, Kyle? What was going through your head when they shut out 3 games in a row and it just looked like, oh my God, here we go again against the better teams, the Dodgers now, the Braves now, and I don't consider the Rangers one of the better teams. They're under 500. But the struggles against these front-end organizations, what were your thoughts last week? What was going through your mind when you're looking at the Cubs go 1 for 34 with runners in scoring position?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's obviously disappointing. I mean, the Cubs, but this is baseball. This happens. Teams, as long as these lows, these cold streaks don't last as long as they did last season, because if that's the case, then we need to start talking about management. But yeah, I mean, every team in baseball has really bad stretches. It happens. These guys feed off of each other. Baseball is a game momentum. And we talked about this yesterday on the phone, Sean. I think home field advantage is probably the biggest in baseball of any sport. I think it's much tougher to win on the road in baseball because you're playing every day and you're living in hotels for half the year and you're not seeing your family. It's not like the NFL where you play one game and then you're back to your house. It's different and it's tough. My takeaway from that series, Sean, is Atlanta's the best team in baseball. That's my takeaway. I think you look at the lineup there, man, that almost every single guy in that lineup's hitting like 280 to 320, almost every single one of them. They all hit for power. It's a tough lineup to play, man. And their pitching's not much worse. Their pitching's one of the best staffs in all baseball. I will say this. I'm impressed that the Cubs beat Chris Sale. That was impressive. Yeah. I mean, of all the guys in that lineup to beat, you would have thought Chris Sale was the one you'd excuse the Cubs for losing. But it was, and Sean, even those games that they lost in Atlanta, disappointing and way too many men left on base, but it's not like they got their asses whooped. I mean, I think the second game was 4-1, and it was one big swing by the Atlanta Braves that put that game away. I mean, the Cubs were in every single one of those games. I think if the Atlanta came and played the Cubs in Chicago, the Cubs would probably go 2-1. That's just the price you pay for playing on the road. But especially when you're talking about a 9, 10, 11, 12 game road streak like some of these baseball teams get into. Listen, the fact that they had men on base to me is a positive. You have to be optimistic. Listen, at some point, if the Cubs continue to do what they're doing and they get more cohesive, and Craig Counsell figures this line out more and more as they go, they start to find guys, or maybe they bring somebody up from the farm system, or whatever this scenario, the case may be, sooner or later, those guys are going to come home, man. Those guys left on base will come home. I'm impressed with the way the Cubs responded, because I was really worried, Sean, that we were going to be looking at another month of just absolute terrible baseball like we saw last season after the All-Star break. They looked like the Cubs yesterday, and I understand it's basically a home away from home game, but they looked a lot better last night. And listen, the White Sox, people could say, "Oh, the White Sox suck. That's a game the Cubs should win." The White Sox have been playing really well, guys. I think they were what 6 in a row before they got to Chicago, before they got to the Cubs. So that's certainly nothing to be ashamed of. You're going to have lows. You're going to have highs. It is disappointing that all their batting averages have dropped, and you'd like to see that turn around at some point here soon. But I'm not worried about it right now, man. I think the only thing that scares me is the same thing we've been talking about all season, Sean. That sooner or later, these pitching injuries are going to catch up to you, and they're going to bite you in the ass. And like you said, we'll talk about Cabrera in a minute. But, man, it looks like the Cubs are probably going to be forced to add arms to this team at some point.
Yeah, you know what? Let's get right into it. The Crosstown Classic will continue. We'll continue today, folks, and we'll take a look ahead. But Jay Motayan, a big assignment that earned run average. I didn't change the graphic. Excuse me. His earned run average is down to 394 after his last stellar performance, which was fantastic down in his home state of Texas. And Davis Martin, big challenge for the Cubs, 164 earned run average, a whip around 52 strikeouts, 10 walks on the season, a young phenom in the White Sox rotation. It's going to be a tough assignment for the Chicago Cubs today. Hopefully they can answer the bell. They need to keep winning because as we get into the we're going to talk about the rotation and the Brewers here at the same time because they're all going to kind of tie into each other. The Brewers are red hot. Since May 1st, they're 9-3. They're one of the hottest teams in baseball. The numbers that we're going to go through in this series that they've been putting up in May have been outstanding. They've only, in 12 games in May, they've given up 4 runs in a game one time, 3 runs twice. Everything else has been 2, 1, or 0. So that's 10 games, my friends, or 9 games, my friends, where they have had a shutout, 1 run, or 2 runs. That pitching staff is turning it around. This is going to be a big-time challenge as the Cubs return to the Federal Landmark at 1060 West Addison and invite the Brewers into the visiting clubhouse. It's going to be a lot of fun as the NL Central, as we keep looking at it and we keep thinking, and I know, Kyle, you're starting to believe in the Cardinals a little more. I'm still not a believer in the Cardinals, but those bastards keep keeping their ugly head around the top of the NL Central. And it looks like the Reds have finally hit their bump. You know, the only team in the division now with a negative run differential. And that's a little confusing to me because I thought that lineup would hit. I thought the back end of the bullpen might be a little bit more of a problem for them, but it seems like the back end of the bullpen, and now they can't hit. Looks like the Reds might be destined for last place if they can't turn this ship around. But as we get into this NL Central, Kyle, what are your thoughts, man? The Dodgers, the Brewers just swept the Dodgers. Here they come into Wrigley Field, red hot, hottest team in baseball since May 1st, 9-3 record. What are your thoughts, man? How scared are you as we get into this, big time first place Central showdown? And this is what we got. We're going to have 2 of their best on the bump against us, and Harrison and Mizorowski, 2 of the best in baseball right now.
Well, I mean, Sean, this is going to tell you exactly where this Cubs pitching staff is at because if they could pick how they wanted it to play out, that's probably exactly how they wanted it. With the injuries to Cade Orton and Justin Steele, those are probably your 3 best pitchers, right? Or at least I think the Cubs consider those guys to be their 3 front-end starters. I mean, right now, with the way Ben Brown's pitching, he should certainly be in that conversation. This is going to tell you exactly who the Cubs are. And listen, we knew at some point the Brewers were going to do what they always do. We knew it was going to happen. I do believe, though, Sean, still that some of the young arms on the Brewers are going to have inconsistencies. I don't think it's going to be the same as last year where you have that guys like Peralta who are just a guaranteed W every single time you put him on the mound. I think Mizorowski is going to have ups and downs just like he did last year. He does still struggle with command from time to time, but yeah, I mean, they're just a tough team, man. That's what the Brewers do. This is their identity. They pitch really well, and they scrape a couple runs across home plate, and that's how they beat you, and they're really good at it. And it's a damn well-run organization. They're really good at drafting. It's time for the Cubs have spent the most money of any team in this Central. And listen, you guys, at some point, something in the Central is going to break because not all 5 of these teams are finish a winning record. That's not happening. It's not happening. One of these teams is going on a long win drought, and they're going to fall out of this race because there's no way that all 5 of these teams are finishing the season with winning records. It's not going to happen. But I mean, when it comes to the Central, is it not deja vu, man? I mean, I feel like every single year for the last 3-4 years, it's just been the Cubs and the Brewers just beating the shit out of each other and seeing who can finish in first place. Hopefully, like Sean, last year the Cubs were on one of the worst runs I've ever seen in the history of baseball. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Cubs fan and I'm too close to it, too emotional. It literally was one of the worst runs I've ever seen. And the Brewers went on what probably could be considered one of the best runs in baseball history.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to happen this year. I think this division race is going to stay very, very close all season. I think it's going to be a nail biter, edge of your seat type race. But yeah, I mean, I know we talk about this all the time. You know, it's early in the season. People always say some of these games really don't matter that much. When it comes to the Brewers, they do. They do. They absolutely do. You have to start creating separation between some of these teams. And I don't know, man. We've been talking about this all season. You and I personally, Sean. Until the Cardinals start losing, I think they're semi-legitimate. I mean, I don't know what to say. If you look at the metrics, you would think they would start to lose at some point, but they just keep winning, man. They're just
and
right
it's
now they're a good baseball. You look at the record; it's a good baseball team.
When you look at their actual stats, when you go inside the metrics and you look at their numbers, the only thing, and they're doing it on the road. I mean, they have the best road record in the division, and it's so effing weird because when you look at the metrics and you look at the earned run average, you look at where they are team whip, they're at the bottom. How the hell they're doing this is such an anomaly. And I just keep saying to myself, the glass slipper is going to fall off at some point. You can't stay this lucky for 6 months. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. When you look at the lucky metrics, the Cardinals, I think, are number 1 in baseball with luck. And I don't know how they determine it, but whatever they're doing, maybe the black magic is down in St. Louis right now. But you know what? At the end of this month, the Cubs are going to smack them back into place, and they'll create their own separation when we close out May and we sweep their ass. I can't remember if it's at home or if it's at in St. Louis, but I don't give a shit where it is. We're going to sweep their ass. Mark my words.
Well, I think eventually teams will start to make adjustments. Listen, the Cardinals there's holes in the roster for sure. There's no doubt about it. And I think they knew that. They expected it because they traded away half their team in the offseason. But, man, those 3 big names line up there, Walker, Weatherford, and then what Donovan, I think is – those guys are legit, man. And you got to try to get through the heart of that lineup. And if you don't pitch around those guys, man, they'll make you pay. They've proven it. They've been doing it all season. I mean, Walker's on an absolute tear, man. This is one of the best starts to a season I've ever seen. John, I agree with you. I think eventually the Cubs and Brewers will separate themselves from the Cardinals. I am kind of surprised by the Reds. I thought for sure with that Reds pitching staff, with those 3 front-end starters, I thought the Reds were going to be uber competitive. I mean, they have a damn good offense. They have one of the best starting pitching staffs in baseball. But we talked about a million times now, the Reds just continue to ignore their bullpen. It doesn't look good. And now you're talking about a run differential of -25. But to my point earlier, Sean, I mean, I said that the home field advantage is more prominent in baseball than any other sport. Put that metric back up there. Look at it. I mean, look at it. Home 18-5, home 15-9, and then obviously the Cardinals are the
anomaly.
I don't know what they're doing on the road, but look at the road records for the rest of those teams: 11-11, 10-8, 11-10, 11-10. Yeah, like home field advantage is really, really important in baseball, and that's why the Cubs need to create separation in this division race because you want the playoffs to go through Chicago. You absolutely you need it. I don't know, man.
This was 1 week ago, Kyle, too. So the Reds have actually gained because they were -40 7 days ago.
Well, yeah, and the record got better. They're more than a game over 500.
Yeah.
Something has to give, though, right? There's no way all 5 of these teams continue to play the way they've been playing for the rest of the season. It's not possible. And you know what? It's time for the AL to start pulling their weight, man, because
they still only have 4 teams over 500.
4 teams over 500. Yeah, that's the problem. Is the AL is giving all these NL Central teams a bunch of wins. That's the problem. But yeah, I don't know. It's I don't want to say scared. You asked me if I was scared. It's certainly unsettling that the Brewers, you think at some point every single offseason they continue to give away starting pitching. They traded their third baseman. And that's just like they have these guys in the farm system they bring up and they replace them with there's like a seamless transition. The Brewers have to run into bad luck at some point, right? Where are their injuries? We've lost our entire pitching staff. They haven't lost anybody. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just That's what makes this season more magical for the Cubs. I feel like everything that possibly could have gone wrong for the Chicago Cubs has, and they're still winning the division. Like if this team could ever be healthy, and we can't say that anymore. Well, if the Cubs are healthy, they'd be the best. If the Cubs are healthy, we can't say that anymore because it seems to me like they're never going to be healthy, Sean. That's just the Chicago Cubs are. But I honestly do believe you're talking about if you had Kate Horton, Justin Steele, Caleb Thielbar, if Hunter Harvey ever could stay healthy for more than a week, I think the Cubs are the best team in the division. But right now, with how banged up they are, and if they don't add any starting pitching at the trade deadline, the Brewers are the conversation's starting to get closer and closer, man. These teams are pretty evenly matched, and it sucks because the Cubs spent $350 million to be the best roster in the NL Central. And I think, honestly, if healthy, they probably were. But due to the injuries they've sustained, now it's a much closer race. And I think, like I said earlier, I think this is going to come down to it again. I think it's going to be all season of, man, why can't the Cubs create separation from the Brewers? It's going to be the same conversation we've been having for the last 2 years. It sucks. It sucks. I'm sick of Wisconsin. I am sick of us. I'm sick of the Packers. I'm sick of the Brewers. I'm sick of all of it, man.
I will tell you this too. And as you talk about they just replaced players, just remember the name Jesus Mate, because he's coming. He's a 19-year-old shortstop, third baseman. He's 19. He's ripping through the minor league organization from scouts, from a lot of different places that I've read. He's the next coming, and he's supposed to be as good as Jackson Cheerio, if not better.
Well, Sean,
that's even scarier, dude.
And if there is one positive, and not to give these teams a cop-out because they owe it to their fan base to spend money. All these teams in Major League Baseball make tons of money. They print money, so they owe it to their fan base to spend it. But there's one positive to not paying certain players millions and millions and millions of dollars, man, is when you're talking about teams like the Rays, the current White Sox team, the way they're doing it, the Brewers, the way they've done it for the last 10 years. When you have these studs in your farm system, you don't have these conversations like, well, there's really nowhere to put them, and we're paying this guy and we're paying that guy, so we can't bench them. Like if they find a guy who they think is better than somebody on their current roster, they bring him up and they throw him in there, and these guys are learning they're to be thrown in the fire, learning on the go. And that's the way I think the Cubs should have done it, man. That's the way the Cubs should have been doing it. Like, listen, Sean, what more can these guys like Pedro Ramirez? What more can these guys do? Kevin Alcantara, what more can you do? Like, how do you earn a roster spot in Major League Baseball? You're hitting 300 at AAA with 15 bombs to start the season. What more can you possibly do to get to the Major League roster? The Rays, the Brewers, the White Sox, they bring these guys up, and these guys find success in the Major League level. The Cubs have this mentality like, well, we're paying PCA, we're paying Bregman, we're paying Horner, we're paying Swanson, so there's just no room for these guys. Like, guys, maybe you should bring somebody like Alcantara up or Ramirez up, and then give Dansby Swanson some time. I mean, dude, you guys, you're paying Dansby Swanson $170 million. He's hitting 180. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. And listen, it's hard to nitpick on the Cubs right now because they're a really good team and they're finding success. But if you want to separate yourself from the Brewers, or you want that one little extra oomph to get yourself over the top, then maybe it's time for the Cubs to start looking at their farm system, see if they can find a spark down there. Because people talk about all these other farm systems like the Cubs is terrible because Major League Baseball has them ranked 20th. The Cubs have a lot of damn good talent in the farm system.
They do.
A lot. There's a lot of studs down there, and sooner or later these guys are going to start begging for playing time or asked to be traded. They want to make their millions.
And I don't want to turn into sucking the Brewers off here, but when you talk about their next wave, and you talk about Jesus Mate coming up, the 19-year-old shortstop right now is hitting unprecedented heights. He's the youngest player in AA baseball. He has 11 extra base hits, 20 RBIs, 15 stolen bases in 34 games. He's cemented himself as not only the number one player in the Brewers organization, but as play begins on May 14th, he's the number one prospect in all of baseball. He's 19. He flew through single A. He's flying through double A. He'll be at triple A. And I'm saying before he's 21 years old, this is a guy that the Cubs are going to have to be dealing with
Sean, he's going to be on their playoff roster when they do the expanded
He
roster.
might,
He's
dude.
going to be on that roster. There's absolutely just for the experience, just so the Brewers can get him up and say like, hey, this is what it's going to be like. Look at this is what it feels like to play for a winning baseball team in Major League Baseball. Just to get him that development, he's going to be on their Major League roster at some point this season. I'm not saying he's going to have like a major influence this season, guys. I'm not going to say he's their everyday starting shortstop at the end of the season, but there is no doubt in my mind. And listen, we've been hearing about this guy. We talked about him last year. Jeff talked about him up last year. We knew this shit was coming. It's like I said. It's like I said, man, when you don't have any, you don't have these obligations to certain people in the lineup, to certain people on the Major League roster. You can bring these guys up whenever you want and put them wherever you want. The Cubs don't have that luxury, or at least they act like they don't.
They don't.
I mean, listen, it's tough to pick on Michael Conforto. Obviously, Matt Shaw's not going anywhere. He's one of the best utility men in all of baseball, if not the best. But I mean, how do you separate yourself from teams like the Brewers? If you just keep putting the same roster out there every year and the Brewers continue to beat you every single year and continue to win in the division, you got to change something, guys. You have to change something. And listen, I'm not taking away. You talk about Cade Horton and Justin Steele. That's a totally different conversation. But unfortunately, it's the same conversation we had last year. Right, Sean? When we lost that playoff series to the Brewers, what did you and I say? Man, it would have been a different series with Cade Horton. Well, that ship has sailed. It's time for the Cubs to go. Either you need to find something in your farm system, or you need to go add somebody at the trade. Hopefully, well before the trade deadline, man. Look, Sean, all these other teams are making. There's other teams making trades right now, huge trades. Look what wasn't it the Phillies who went and got that stud from the Angels?
Like Cleveland traded with the Giants too and took their stud catcher.
Yeah, like Cubs, go act like you're a championship caliber roster. Go walk around with your chest out, your chin up, act like you could beat any team in baseball, and you're in the same conversation as the Dodgers and the Yankees and everybody else, and go acquire more talent so you could be the best team in baseball and win a championship. That the Cubs have never ever been that team. It's time to act like it. You just spent $350 million on this roster. Go win a championship. Make it worth it.
And I was very briefly last week. Talking about some trade chips, but I talked about Bailey Uber from Minnesota. You saw what he did: complete game, shutout, 90 pitches, I believe it was this past week. Like, these teams are out of it. If they're willing to trade, they're willing to make a deal. Now, the Twins are a little bit of a different story. They're in a shit division. They're only 3.5 games out as they're 5 games under 500. But if they're thinking about building towards the future, or you already know the Giants just traded away Bailey, go talk to them about, Robbie Ray or Gage or bullpen help. If you're on the phone talking to the Mets, go get Peralta and Brooks Raley, make a deal. And now, because you can't win the division in May, but you can certainly lose it. And we learned that last year when that 6-game lead we had flipped to a 5-game deficit. And even when we got hot, and then the Brewers went on that little, after they had that long hot streak, they went on that little short losing streak, and that's when the Cubs got hot, but the Cubs still couldn't catch them. So, again, you can't win the division now, but you certainly can put your back against the wall and lose the division right now. And I'll tell you, man, as we get into this series right now, and we look at what the Brewers are doing since May 1st, a team earned run average of 192, 23 earned runs over 108 innings pitched. You have Bryce Terang in the month of May hitting 297. You have William Contreras hitting 280. Jack Bowers hitting 275. Jackson Chirio hitting 300. They're heating up. They're exactly the team that we didn't want to see. And, we always have this conversation about Bryce Terang versus Nico Horner and who's better, who's not. Bryce Terang right now is team leading 297 batting average, a spectacular 418 on base percentage, not taking any away from Nico Horner because we know he's the straw that stirs the drink here on the north side of Chicago. But Bryce Terang is having another phenomenal season here.
Nico's a way better defender too. I mean,
he's a way better defender. We opened up the show with that. But as we get into some of these numbers, and we start to look ahead into this big clash here in the Central, I mean, look at this, dude. Team earned run average, 4th in baseball. Cubs 10th in baseball. WHIP is 6th. Cubs are 5th. Runs per game, the Cubs are 3rd. The Brewers are 6th, and that gap isn't very much. Team batting average is 7th at 247. The Cubs have dropped. Actually, oops, I screwed that up. The Cubs are 7th at 247. I've screwed up that graphic. The Brewers are 245 at 10th. But again, that gap and the way the Cubs have fallen off from that 260 they were hitting just a couple of weeks ago, you hope that the pressure bursts pipes, but it also creates diamonds, right? So the pressure is going to be on both of these teams, but it always seems like when the Brewers come in here, they play loose and fancy free, and the pressure always seems to be on the Cubs. And as we take a look at opening this series, the Cubs have a tremendous advantage with Shota Imanaga on the hill, and Shota hasn't had his best performances against the Milwaukee Brewers, but it's going to be time for him to step up and be that ace because unfortunately, that's exactly what the Cubs need, and that's exactly who he has to be. Well, the Cubs are injured, and we're going to get into some of these Shota Imanaga stats versus the Brewers, and, they're not great. He's faced them 4 times. He's got a .573 earned run average. His debut performance against them did not go well. 4 innings pitched. He gave up 8 hits, 7 earned runs. His second performance, 5 2/3, much better. He did give up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. His third performance against them, his only win against the Brewers, he struck out 8, went 5 hits, 3 earned runs, and his latest performance was last year, probably his most stellar performance in a Cubs loss. He went 7, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, while striking out a couple of 5 Brewers, just one short of a 6-pack, but a career 1-3 record, .573 earned run average, 18 strikeouts and 4 appearances versus the Brewers in his career. And we open up the series, and Kyle, I'm going to ask you this, man. When you open up this series against the Brewers, the division's on the line because it's going to be 2.5 game lead right now. It's going to be somewhere in between 2.5 and maybe 3.5 if the Brewers lose a game here. It's going to be close. This division's going to have implications on who leaves Wrigley Field in first place. You take a look at what the Cubs have in this first game with Shota against Sprout. Cubs have the definite advantage in this game. How important is this game for the Cubs?
Well, incredibly important. And I don't want to look too far in the future, right? You still got to play the White Sox twice, and they're damn good, especially the pitcher you're playing today, Martin. He's a damn good pitcher. You got to win if it's teams like these that the Cubs have to beat. We talked about this before the season, right, guys? Like, listen, the Sox, I like what they're doing. I think they're certainly getting better. The trajectory is looking good for the White Sox, but they're still a team you should beat. I mean, if you look at the 2 rosters comparatively, and you look at how much money the Cubs have put in this other roster, it's still a team you should beat. Before I get into the actual series and the matchup, Sean, like when you showed the metric with the Brewers stats versus the Cubs stats, you notice the biggest difference on those statistics is the team ERA. Mm-hmm. I believe this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, the biggest difference is the team ERA. I believe if you add a Cade Horton and Justin Steele, that gets a lot closer, but that's the problem. Injuries have now made this a much closer race than it should be. They have to win game 1, Sean. They have to win game 1 because the way that Mizrowski's been pitching, the way Harrison's been, you have to win game 1. You have to. And I do believe, honestly, I told you this yesterday, Sean. I think now, due to the injuries to the guys like Cade Horton and Justin Steele, I think the Cubs have not necessarily sat down and had a conversation with Shota Imanaga, but I think just the way that they've scheduled him, the way they've put him in the lineup, they've told him, you're our guy. You are our ace. You are our front runner. If we started a playoff series tomorrow, you're getting game 1, Shota, 100%. And I think that will give him some confidence, man. I think this is going to be the Shota you see all year. Now, obviously, guys, he's probably going to have a bad start here and there. The best pitchers in the world do. All of them. Steven Strasburg had him. Jacob deGrom has him. Jacob Mizrowski's going to have them. Everybody has bad starts, but I think you're going to see Shota Imanaga is probably a career year. This would be probably his best year in baseball. I think it instills a lot of confidence in him. And what you said earlier, Sean, I feel like the pressure is always on the Cubs. Yeah, like why do the Cubs, like, you almost feel like they have this we're the little brother mentality. Like, yeah. Don't have that mentality. That's what I was talking about. Walk around with your chest out. Walk around like you're the championship organization. Like you're on top and you're looking down at the Brewers and you're like, man, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to spend more money than that. You better hope these guys in your farm system pan out. The Cubs need to start acting like a championship caliber roster. They need to put the pressure on the Brewers. Score a run in the first inning. Score runs early. Show to have a really quick first inning. Have a 10-pitch 1-2-3 inning. If you can, it's the same kind of thing that the Bears did to the Packers last season. Like, we are not your little brother anymore. This is we're here. We ain't going anywhere. And that's people talked about that Ben Johnson, like, oh, he's so mean. He didn't shake his hand, and he goes in the locker room and says, "Fuck those guys." Good. That's the mentality you're supposed to have. Act like a championship roster. Act like the better team. Put the pressure on the Brewers early and often. The Cubs are good enough to win this division. They are. They have the roster to win this division. Obviously, I think we all agree, you, me, Bruce, everybody all in the chat, that they're going to have to add some arms, right? And I think that was probably going to be the plan anyway. I think the Cubs were going to be more active at the trade deadline anyway. I think that even without the injuries, I think the Cubs were probably planning on bolstering up this roster. But I think you need to make a statement here, Sean. This is certainly the most important series for the Cubs this season so far, this Brewers series coming up. And yeah, I think you got to win 2 out of 3. And it's got to be tough, man, because like you said, Mizorowski is no scrub. This guy, I think I saw a metric the other day, Sean, a statistic. He has like 12 pitches of 103 plus. The next guy has 2. The next guy has 2. He's certainly going to be a challenge, but the Cubs have been really, really good at putting pressure on damn good pitchers. I mean, listen, they didn't score a ton on Chris Sale, but they had guys on the bases in almost every inning, man. And the Cubs are really good at applying pressure. Don't let the Brewers intimidate you. Don't go in there and act like you're their little brother. Go in there and put the pressure on them immediately. The second you get in there, at some point, the Cubs need to establish themselves as the best team in the NL Central. We've been talking about this for 3 years now. We spend more money than the Brewers. We built our farm system up for a longer period of time than the Brewers did. Go in there and act like it. Go be the boss of the NL Central. The only way they can do that, Sean, is by beating the Brewers on the field. That's the only way they can do it. And what's really frustrating is when these series happen between the Cubs and Brewers, you can even see the look on Craig Counsell's face sometimes where you're like, man, he looks almost scared. He looks like he knows they're better than we are. They're not. So stop having that mentality. And listen, it's easy for me to say, sitting on this chair in a podcast, I'm not the one playing the games. I'm not managing. I don't have that immense pressure on my shoulder where every single pinch hit and every single pitch and every at bat matters. I don't have to make those decisions like Craig Counsell does. But Jed Hoyer has certainly given you the tools, like we talked about. I don't want to be a dead horse, but you just spent $350 million on this roster. You brought Bregman in here. PCA is supposed to be a star. Nico Warner got extended. Go act like you're the team that you put together in the offseason and spent all this money on.
Well, I'm going to tell you, as we get into game 2 here, we got Jacob Mizorowski versus Ben Brown.
Well, Sean, the question is, how long does Ben Brown go? That's the question. I mean, great. If you get 4 shutout innings on him, awesome, amazing. But then now you got to get 6 innings out of your bullpen. That will scare the shit out of me.
This is where I'm going to give you some light at the end of the tunnel here, Kyle. Because Cub fans in the chat, listen to me closely. The Cubs are one of the better hitting fastball teams in all of Major League Baseball.
Maybe the best.
Jacob Mizorowski, career versus the Cubs. He has 8 innings pitched. His first outing, he went 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 runs, 2 walks. And how many strikeouts do you think he had? He had 7. His second outing, he's only faced the Cubs twice. He had a 675 earned run average, 4 innings pitched, 3 runs, 3 earned, 3 walks, and only he had 5 strikeouts. So Mizorowski in 2 career starts is 0-1 versus the Cubs with a career earned run average of 563, 12 strikeouts in those 2 appearances. Behind also, Cubs be patient, 5 walks. I'd like to see that go up a little bit. Now, this is what makes this so special. Not only is Ben Brown having so far the rising phoenix for the Chicago Cubs, having a special season so far, but look at what he's done and against the Milwaukee Brewers. And no one can forget about what he did against the Brewers. Brown famously flirted with that no-hitter on May 28th, 2024, carrying that no-hit bid through 7 innings, racking up 10 strikeouts, 16 whiffs. behind 2 walks. He had to come out of that game because he had a 98, I believe it was a 98 pitch count in that game in the 7th inning. But this guy has been nothing short of dominant as a starter or a reliever. That one relief appearance was in the playoff game last year, where he absolutely dominated the Milwaukee Brewers again. So when I give you these stats and I give you these numbers, and then we look at game 2 of this series, because I'm giving the Cubs game 1. I think the Cubs get the sprout. And I know we usually do this at the end of the show. We'll revisit this. I'm giving the Cubs game 1 of this series. I think they continue their home winning streak. They extend it. Game 2 is where it starts to get a little interesting here with Mizorowski versus Ben Brown. But I gave you the stats. I gave you the numbers. Kyle, which way you leaning? Is this a new Jacob Mizorowski? Because he's on fire, like you stated earlier, throwing 103 miles per hour consistently. Do the Cubs get to him? Does he own the Cubs? Does Ben Brown continue his dominance? Where are you at in game 2? Give me 1 second, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's what I just said. I mean, I like the fact that Ben Brown doesn't look at this Brewers team any differently than the other. He's like, it seems like Ben Brown's the one guy on this roster who is like, hey, we're not your little brothers. We're the Chicago Cubs. You're the Milwaukee Brewers. We will beat the shit out of you every single time we play you. I think Ben Brown likes playing the Brewers. I think he likes the pressure. I think he likes the fact that those games mean more to this team than any other games on the schedule. The problem with Ben Brown is, and he's been absolutely nothing short of amazing, and I think he truly is going to become a damn good player in baseball. I think he's at least going to end up being a number 2 in rotation for the rest of his career if he could continue this 3-4 pitch combination that he's been using this season. The problem with Ben Brown is, if you're telling me Ben Brown's pitches 4 innings and now you got to rely on your bullpen through 6 against the Brewers bullpen, I don't like that. I would give the Brewers the upper hand in that game. I'd certainly listen to all the Cubs fans out there who've been watching this amazing home win streak. It's been absolutely phenomenal. It's been fun to watch. I don't think the Cubs are sweeping the Brewers at all. I don't. I know the Cubs fans probably hate to hear me say that, but they're just a damn good team. And for some reason, they just know the Cubs very well and they know how to play them. I think the Cubs could win 2 out of 3. I think they should be those first 2 games there. I think Ben Brown is more than capable of beating the Brewers. It just depends on how long he's allowed to pitch, Sean. That's the problem. Like, are you going to get 4 innings out of him, 5 innings out of him, 6 innings? I mean, how many innings are you going to get? And I promise you that if the Cubs could find a way to bully the Brewers in game 1, win by 3 or 4 runs, they're going to save all their good bullpen pieces for game 2, 100%. Craig Counsell, that's his plan. That's what he's going to do, that he's going to save the Hobie Milners and the Daniel Palencias for game 2. It's going to be a damn good game. I'll tell you that, Sean. I don't know. I'll pick the Cubs to win, but solely on the fact that I hate the Brewers and I'm a Cubs fan. It's going to be a damn good game. But you're right. If there's one team in all of baseball that Jacob Mizorowski's 103 miles per hour doesn't matter as much against, it's the Chicago Cubs. Look what they did to Mason Miller. They don't give a shit, man. This team can hit good pitching. They can. The Cubs constantly put pressure on the opposing pitchers. They've been doing it all season. They can beat Jacob Mizorowski. No doubt about it. They can beat him. When it comes to these games, and we've talked about this in the past, correct me if you think I'm wrong, the Brewers and Cubs, this is where you have to have the margin of error is tiny. You cannot make mistakes. You cannot make mistakes against Walker. You can't
bring Ryan Rolison in a high pressure.
No, if Ryan Rolison's pitching a game 2, I'm taking the Brewers. But yeah, I mean, this is a team. The Brewers are built a lot like the Cubs. They just continue to move the line. They put a lot of pressure on your opposing pitchers, and they scrape runs across home plate. These 2 teams are very evenly matched. They have very similar identities. And as much as it's crazy to say, Sean, with all the injuries we've had and the fact that we're starting the Colin Rays of the world, the Cubs are still one of the best pitching teams in all of baseball. Somehow they continue to do so. They've continued to do so for the last 2 to 3 years. They find a way.
And when you look at Milwaukee's bullpen and the Cubs bullpen, and that's I totally blanked on putting a graphic.
The problem is, which Cubs bullpen are you talking about? Like we don't know anymore.
Well, so far on the season, the Brewers are ninth in baseball with a 341 earned run average, a 133 WHIP. The Cubs are 12th in baseball, 376, but a 125 WHIP. And the one thing that I really like, and the thing I guess I shouldn't say I like, the one thing that scares me the most falls in Ben Brown and Shota's benefit, and maybe even as we're going to break down Cabrera here in a second, Cabrera's benefit is when you look at slug and you look at home runs, the Brewers are dead last. And I believe they're, if I remember correctly, they're 28th in slug. They do not hit a lot of home runs. Jake Bauers leads their club with 6. Nobody else has more. They manufacture runs. That can get scary because that's the team that they've been. It also can haunt you. If the wind's blowing in at Wrigley, that scares me a little bit because this team, again, they know how to move that line, get runners on, and push them across the finish line. So there's so many key components. If the wind's blowing out for Shota, does that scare me? It scares me with a couple people. It scares me with Terang. It scares me with Contreras because Contreras historically loves to kill the Chicago Cubs. It's fucking psychopath. I can't stand that guy. And then obviously you have to worry about Bauers. He has some power in the lineup. But I did when I was looking at these stats today and I saw that the slug was so bad for the Brewers. The Cubs can hopefully take advantage of that a little bit because the Cubs, as we went over last week on the show, Shota, his fly ball rate is now below his ground ball rate. He's getting the ball pounded into the ground more than he's getting the ball in the air. That is fantastic to see. And when you start turning over this bullpen, you look at Trent Thornton, and I know it's a small sample size, so that number is going to fluctuate. But when the Cubs have had him in there, he's got 60% ground ball rate right now. Small sample size, yes, so that's probably going to fluctuate down. But you want to keep those numbers high and get the ball to those infielders, to the Nico Horners and the Dansby Swansons of the world who work the magic with the glove. Yeah. This is so impressive, man. This is such an impressive. And Bruce brings up a good stat here. Bruce brings up they're 12-12 at night, and the Cubs are 16-7 in night games. That's a fantastic stat because all 3 of these games are set for 640 night bills on the north side. So,
yeah, the only thing about that is, Sean, I agree with you, and that's how the Cubs have built this team. They know they have the best middle infield defense of any team in baseball. The problem is, every time the Cubs play the Brewers, they just do things they do not normally make. I think, like you said, I feel like they put more pressure on themselves than the Brewers do. Like, yeah, I don't read too much into the power numbers for the Brewers because I think even though they don't hit for power, Sean, they are probably the best team in baseball at doing what they do. Like they're just really good at finding ways to get guys across home plate. They're meticulous and they've perfected the art. The Cubs are a better offense. It's not a question.
100%.
It's not a conversation. I don't even care if you're a Brewers fan. If you're a Brewers fan and you come on the chat and say the Cubs don't have better offense than the Brewers, then you're just being a homer. You're lying to yourself. You're trying to convince yourself. The Cubs are a better offense. The Cubs should score runs than the Milwaukee Brewers. The problem is the Brewers have a better pitching staff. Now, real quick, Sean, you said that the Cubs bullpen is 12th in ERA. That number is a little skewed as well because the starts of Maton and Webb, they're not the same guys. Now, listen, I know Maton gave up that home run, that 3-run bomb in Atlanta, but he's been much better too for the last. I mean, it's small sample size. The last 2 weeks, he's been a different pitcher. Outside of that one bad pitch, Maton's been pretty damn good. He's been pretty dependent. Same as Jacob Webb. So if those guys have been pitching like they've been pitching over the last 3 weeks all season, the Cubs ERA, their bullpen ERA would be right there next to the Brewers. They'd be basically in the same conversation. But
I hope you're right.
It's going to be small ball. I'll tell you that right now, man. I don't think there's going to be a ton of home runs. I don't. Even for the Cubs, who have a lot of power in the lineup, I don't think there's going to be a ton of home runs in the series. The Brewers just have really good pitching. They don't give up a ton of home runs.
And you want to know what's great, Kyle, is if I asked you, Cubs scored 10 runs yesterday, what didn't they do?
Bombs.
No home runs.
Yeah.
That put a smile on my face, man. That really did.
And just Sean, just the contributions from everybody in the lineup is what makes the Cubs so tough to. I mean, Carson Kelly has 4 RBI. if you asked the White Sox team yesterday, the organization, like who's scaring you today? Who do you think for the Cubs? Bregman? You think it's Bregman? You think it's Horner? You think Moises Ballesteros is his first big game against the Chicago White Sox in this rival? Nobody would be like, I think it's Carson Kelly. I think their backup, their quasi backup starting, who knows what he is, catcher. I think he's going to destroy us today. You just never know with the Chicago Cubs lineup. We talked about this earlier. It seems like when the top's not hitting, the bottom's like, oh, don't worry, we got you. We got this shit. Don't worry about it. When the bottom's not hitting, the top's like, yeah, we're here. Don't worry about it. The Cubs are just a tough, very, very tough lineup to face. And I think they honestly, I don't know why, because if you look at the numbers, they're very similar, and it's not like the Cubs changed a ton, but I think they're just a better team with Bregman than they were Kyle Tucker. I think they are. I don't know what Bregman brings that's different. I don't know if it's just leadership or just the consistency, but I think they're just tougher to face this year than they were last. This is going to be listen, Brewers fans on their podcasts, their conversations they're having right now, they're on the same conversations we are. Like, man, this Cubs team is tough. They're damn good. They just find ways to win. It's the same thing the Brewers do. That's why these matchups are so close. That's why they're so fun to watch, because these teams are so evenly met. Like, they almost mirror images of each other, outside of the fact that the Cubs have lost some of their best pitchers due to injury. Outside of that, you're talking about the Caleb Thielbars of the world, the Katie Hortons of the world, the Justin Steeles of the world. Outside of losing those guys, if both these rosters are healthy, they're very, very evenly matched, and they play the same style of baseball. Like I said, the Cubs have a little bit more power, but the Brewers are probably a little more consistent with getting runners home from who are in scoring position. So it's going to be a tight series, but it's time for the Cubs to establish their dominance and to let the Brewers know that we are not the same team as last year. We're better than you.
Yeah. And I'm going to surprise everyone here, and I know we do the predictions at the end of the show. Maybe, you know what? We'll save them. We'll save them. We'll break this down, and then
Sean, Erica really wants to get to Edward Cabrera, so let's have that conversation.
We're gonna get to the third game of the series right now, and Kyle Harrison, the young phenom, off to a fantastic start for the.
So annoying that they got him for what they got. Nothing. You know, it's not only are the Brewers a good organization, but it doesn't help the fact that teams like the Red Sox make dumbass trades that gives this team absolute stud pitcher, front of the line starting pitchers for an average third baseman. That's not helping the Cubs in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I'm a big Edward Cabrera fan, and I might go on a little tangent here with Edward Cabrera. I expect more out of him, and I don't expect him to be a one. But I'd be lying to you. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I expected him to be a solid 2 with a bottom floor of a 3. And he's not giving that
a good 3. Like you're
a solid 3.
Yeah, like a damn good 3.
He first off, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Maybe not on the show. I think we were texting you. Maybe we were texting Kyle. But the walks are what gets him in trouble. You know, it's the first 3 innings yesterday. He wasn't walking anybody. His pitches were moving. I mean, he looked that first at bat against Murakami. I was sitting there like, that's the Cabrera that I wanted to see. 96-mile-per-hour fastball, tailing inside on the hands. Murakami thought that ball was coming right over the middle. Man, that ball just said, whoop, went right inside. He swung right through it. And I'm like, that's the stuff I want to see more on a regular basis from this guy. And then you start looking at what they're doing. And I snapped this off the post game yesterday because they were questioning the same thing I was about his 4-seam usage by inning and why it's fluctuating so much and why they're not using that 4-seamer to try and set up his some of these other pitches. But then you look at his changeup, which when he came here he had one of the best changeups in baseball. We agree on that?
That's why they traded
That's
for
why
him.
they traded
that changeup is why they went and got him.
And now his changeup is hanging. And he's just not getting stuff into the left-handers either. And he's just lost against left-handers in the box right now. And for me, I do still believe the stuff is there. And it is a long season. And it's a few starts in. And it does seem like from the first start of the season to where he was yesterday, which obviously 4 2/3 was his worst start of the season against the White Sox, because he got in those walks trouble. And I was very happy that Counsell came and pulled the string. Wasn't happy he brought in Rollison. I was very happy he pulled the string because that could have turned into a nightmare. I am very confused. And I know walks have always been a problem for Cabrera. They haven't been this much of a problem. I don't think it's an injury problem. Maybe it's a catcher to pitcher issue. There's some kind of communication because you saw that stuff in the first couple innings was the Edward Cabrera stuff we thought we'd see on a regular basis. And in the 4th inning, he just came out. He was flat. He had 0 location. His changeup, for Christ's sake, was 6 feet high outside. Like I was just like, what is happening to this guy? And then he looked like after the mound visit, after Hadavi talked to him, then it looked like he was just trying too hard because his location was even worse. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, what a nightmare.
When that's happened in almost every game where he looks like he's trying to. And Sean, every game, it's the inconsistencies within the. It'd be one thing if Cabrera had 3 great games and then 3 bad games and 3. It's inconsistencies within each game. It's not like most pitchers where they go on a really hot streak and then they have a couple bad games and they go on a hot streak and they have a couple bad. It's not like Tyon where he gives up 8 runs, gives up 6 runs, gives up 4 runs, and then gives up 0 runs for 3 starts in a row. These are, and Sean, with a guy who throws a lot of off-speed stuff, you're going to have more walks, right? You expect that. If a guy who's not throwing 101 miles per hour down the middle and making guys swing at pitches because he's throwing inside the strike zone, you're going to have more walks. But yeah, he's just not hitting his locations. These pitches that are these curveballs, these sliders that are supposed to nip the strike zone, hit the edge of the strike zone, the corner of the strike zone. They're just not finding it. And I don't know if it's something mental going on with Cabrera. I don't know if there's something personal in his personal life going on, but he doesn't look confident to me when you watch him on the mound. He does not look confident to me. He looks like he's a little shooken up. He looks like he's trying to find his stuff, trying everything he can to find his stuff, and it's just not there. He's just not finding it. He's got to be better than this. He's got to be better. And like, I agree, Sean. I think when Cubs fan, I talked about this on the show when Alex Cohen was on the show. When they traded their number 1 prospect in Owen Casey for Edward Cabrera, I think Cubs fans on the outside, kind of like casual fans who don't dig into the statistics like we do, were like, "Oh, this guy must be an ace because they just traded their best prospect for him." And Christian Hernandez, another one of the great prospects, he's got to be an ace, right? He never was. He's always been a 3.5 ERA guy, but he's got to be better than this. And everybody talked about, even when it comes to the experts who do know the statistics, the metrics, they said that we have not seen the best of Edward Cabrera, and the Cubs are trading for a guy who they're projecting to get better and at some point be probably a 2 in the rotation. That's not the guy I've seen. That is not the guy I've seen. And it's frustrating because when you watch Cabrera and you watch the way he pitches, he does have the stuff to be a good number 2 or a damn good number 3 at worst, like you said, his floor, but it's just not there. He's not finding it. And I hope that whatever the problem is, it gets corrected well before the playoffs start, because first of all, Cabrera's dealt with a ton of injuries in his career. So at some point you're probably thinking that he's going to have some time off. Then you're talking about coming back, rehabbing, whatever. And I'm not saying that that's a guarantee, but if I were the Cubs, I'd plan it. I would certainly plan around it. You're talking about rehabbing, then he's trying to find his stuff again. Like, he needs to get this confidence soon, like now.
Yeah, and you
guys, this is not a small sample. You guys, we're over a quarter into the season. It's time for these guys to figure their shit out.
This was the thing that I think the Cubs were buying into, because if you go to last year and you look at his second half surge that he had, he did a couple mechanical tweaks during the midseason last year, and he pitched to a stellar 205 earned run average, backed up by a 110 whip May onward until he had that September UCL tear that slowed him down. And then you kind of look and say his velocity's down a little bit across the board this year. He's throwing his changeup 33% of the time so far this year compared to 26% of the time last year. He's also giving up more barrels. And Kyle, you talked about this, I think last week or the week before, the barrel percentage. I mean, everything coming off the bat was, 100 to 105. What was that? 1 start or 2 starts ago? I mean, he was just getting shelled out of the box. And his arm angle from last year was, they moved it down from 36 to 33%. It was a 45 degree when he debuted, I guess, at a 45 degree angle. I was just reading some of his metrics from his career. He debuted at a 45 degree angle. They moved it down to 36, and then he moved it down to 33. So he came back later, from that UCL tear at the end of the season, and he was throwing some of his hardest stuff at the end of last season. And I think that's what the Cubs thought they were getting. And all of a sudden this year, he's just looked like a shell of what that was when he was in that hot streak last year. And I remember being on the show with you saying, holy shit, look at how good Edward Cabrera is, dude. He's unhittable. That 205 earned run average, that 110 whip. Honestly, Kyle, when they traded, that's who I thought I'm like, wow, you're going to get him in with Tommy Hotovy. They're going to improve off of that stellar performance and what Hotovy can do with pitching and the way we've seen him work, his puppet strings with all these different pitchers. I mean, he's doing it with Trent Thornton right now. That's kind of what I thought. And I'm going to say this. I still think there can be some mechanical tweaks. And I still think if there's nothing wrong,
well, and it might just be lasting effects from that injury.
It could
maybe
be.
he's just still in the recovery process. We don't know. That's the problem. That's what I was talking about earlier, like something personal. We don't know. I don't know, but it's certainly not the guy we saw at the end of last season. And what's really concerning for me about Cabrera, Sean, is as average as he's been, he's probably been the luckiest pitcher on the Cubs, man. Those games where he's just everything coming off the bat at 100 miles an hour, it seems like it just so happens to find a glove in the Cubs infield or outfield. Sooner or later, those balls are going to start falling between the Cubs outfielders, and it's going to start getting scary because when Cabrera it seems like when he gives up hits, they just always seem to be extra base hits because the ball's coming off the bat so hard.
So hard, dude.
He's got amazing job, Sean, doing all that work. I didn't know anything about the arm angles there. He's got to find a way to get back to where he was last season. He has to because the Cubs need him, man. They need Cabrera. They need him, man. He is insanely important to what happens to this Cubs team for the rest of the season and going into the playoffs.
I will tell you this. T-Mac, our girl Taylor McGregor, did write the other day that the Cubs are trying to work with Cabrera to get that arm angle back up a little bit. So if there's nothing wrong, because honestly, I can't say that there's something wrong with his elbow because he looked amazing in that first inning. I mean, he had movement on his pitches.
Yeah, but fatigue would be a side effect of an injury.
That could be. And maybe you have to put him on. And if he goes on the IL, the sky's going to be falling. It's going to be Chicken Little. It's going to be Chicken Little on the north side, man. Sky's going to be falling. But if you have to, and then you can work on getting that arm slot. And this is, again, coming from T-Mac. And I'm reading it right here because I wrote it down. She said, T-Mac just confirmed that the Cubs are working to get his arm angle back up a little bit. That was from 16 hours ago. So maybe the Cubs are working on this tweak. We're going to be able to see him be able to hone back into that dominant pitcher he was for the Marlins in the middle of last season. And guess what? And Kyle, I think you'll agree with me on this one. If you want him to struggle, let him struggle now. As the season moves on, let him get better, right?
Listen, if there is one positive in this situation, it's the fact that last season he was his best late in the season, and you hope that it's going to be the same. It plays out the same way here in Chicago, and like I said, you guys, it's not like I think I worry that some people jump on this podcast, be like, man, these guys just don't like Cabrera. I don't. Cabrera hasn't been terrible, and I like it a lot, and I think it was still a damn good trade for the Cubs. I think pitching is more valuable than hitting will ever be. But it's just not. It's not
not there right now.
He's like a unfinished project, right? Like he's just not. It sucks because I think if Cabrera could be more consistent and hit his location more often, I think, Sean, he is one of those guys where you're like, man, there are times where he's just unhittable. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. I think it's in him. That's what sucks is as Cubs fans, I think that's why we're so frustrated. We know it's there. We know he could do it. We saw it last year. You just said, Sean, 2 ERA for the span of 2 months. He's capable of doing it. You wish you could go to Greg Counsell and have a conversation, be like, what's going on? And he would probably tell you, like, oh, he had Cabrera. When it comes to Cabrera, he's got this going on. But as Cubs fans who we don't know, we don't have that inside information. It's so frustrating. You want to like tear your eyes out of your skull because you're like, God, dude, if Cabrera, if you pitched like you did in the first 3 innings yesterday, you're one of the best pitchers in baseball, and you will be a frontline starter for the Cubs in the playoffs, and we will win games. But you just never know what you're going to get every time Cabrera takes the mound. I'm not talking about starts, guys. I'm talking about from inning to inning. You just never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're like. Oh God, what Cabrera's coming out now? Which one's coming out now? Because if it's the guy who pitched the first 3 innings, we're winning this game. If it's the guy who pitched last week, we're not winning this game. It's infuriating, man.
After that first inning yesterday, I thought we were going to see a dominant Edward Cabrera performance. I really did. And then fourth inning happened.
Well, and when you say that, like you thought you were going to see this Ecuador all game, and it was going to be you. That's what you're hoping is like the start of a snowball, right? Like, well, right now he's going to go, and now he's going to be like this for the next 10 games. Now he's just going to snap, and you see it. Like you start to see it, you're like, oh man, there's the Cabrera they traded for. That's the guy that they traded their top prospect for, and then it all falls apart at some point in the game. It's happened almost every single game. I mean, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, but has Cabrera given up 3 or more runs, and it's been like. How many starts in a row now?
I think he's won 3-3-5-3, and I'm not sure what he was charged with yesterday. I forgot. I didn't look at the box score, but it was more than 3.
I mean, it's 3 or more every single game. He's got to be better than that. That's not what the Cubs traded for. They didn't trade for a guy who averages 4 runs a game. He's got to be better than that, man. And I honestly do believe that at some point, guys, and Erica says that she just posted in the chat here, I don't trust him. Right now, it's tough to, for sure. But I do believe at some point this season, you're going to see the Cabrera we saw last season, the one where the Cubs were talking about where they traded for the projection, right? They traded for what they think he can be as opposed to what he's been. I think you're going to see that guy. And maybe this is just who Cabrera is, Sean. Maybe he's the type of guy who, sometimes these guys in professional sports, they have these habits their entire career. Maybe he starts off every season very slow and finishes every season very strong. But
that would be amazing.
Asking him to stay healthy all season, which is something he's really ever done, and pitch to the 2 ERA he did the second half last season, which is something he only did in the second half last season. That's a lot to ask for, man. Now you're starting to have too many ifs. Like there's too many ifs there. And I do think Cabrera is going to get better. I do. I really do honestly believe that he's going to, by the end of the season, Cubs fans are going to absolutely love Edward Cabrera. I believe 100%. I'm not saying that because I'm a Cubs fan. I just know I've seen the stuff. I've watched baseball for a very long time. There are certain pitches that Edward Cabrera throws where I'm like, that is one of the best pitches I've ever seen. You just have to be more consistent, man. And Sean, it's the same conversation we had with Ben Brown, right? And people were like, and I myself was guilty. I apologize, Ben Brown, guys. I myself was guilty. Sean knows. I called him and was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm done with this, man. This is infuriating. I can't watch this anymore. Sometimes it just takes a long time. You got to find these certain tweaks, add a pitch, maybe perfect a pitch, get better at one pitch, use a pitch less, use another pitch more. I think Cabrera will figure it out because he's got Tommy Hotovy behind him, one of the best pitching coaches in all of baseball, who we've talked about many times. I don't think he's going to be a pitching coach on the Cubs for very long. I just think sooner or later Tommy Hotovy is going to get his shot. But if there's anybody in the world who can perfect this and correct it and get it better, it's Tommy Hotovy. And I think at some point this season, Edward Cabrera we're going to start to talk about Edward Cabrera like maybe he should be the starter going into the playoffs, the first game 1 starter outside of Shota Managa. I think it's coming. I do. And it sucks that it hasn't happened yet. And it's infuriating for Cubs fans because now you have all these question marks, but just got to stay patient, man.
I believe they'll hone in on him. I believe they'll hone in on him as well. But I'm going to tell you with Kyle Harrison, he has not given up more than 2 earned runs in any starts this year.
He's been spectacular. Of course, because he's a Brewer. So why would he not be spectacular?
He strikes you out. He doesn't walk you. He's got a 4-1 record, 48 strikeouts, 13 walks, 119 whip. It's going to be a tough game for the Cubs, and it's going to put, a lot of pressure on the Cubs in those first 2 games of the series to make sure that you sneak out a win when your best pitchers are on the mound. And right now for the Cubs, that's Shota and Ben Brown. And, let's be honest, the Cubs got to find a way to manufacture runs. They've had success against Mizorowski in the past. So the Cubs got to find a way to come back to 1060 West Addison and find 2 big victories to start the series, because I'm going to tell you, the way Cabrera's been going, game 3 scares me a lot more than the first 2 games of this set.
Well, and the way that Cabrera's been going and the way that Jameson Taillon's been going, I wish that was Taillon. And I hate to say that because I like Cabrera, but I wish for just right now at this point in the season against the Brewers, a division series you have to win. You have to start winning these series against the Brewers. I really wish that was Jameson Taillon, because Jameson Taillon, if as much grief as he takes from Cubs fans, and obviously he was the highest paid pitcher for a long time, so I think he had a lot of pressure put on by Cubs fans, but he's been amazing, dude. What Jameson Taillon does goes by the wayside so often. I know a lot of people don't like him, man, but he's just the pillar of consistency, and I know it's inconsistent, and so it's kind of it doesn't make sense, but when he is on, and
he has one bad start all year.
Well, and he has that every year. He's going to have bad starts. And why Jameson Taillon has a 3.7 career earned run average, because every year he's going to have those starts. That's why he's not considered a top tier pitcher who has a sub 2 ERA his whole career. He's not Jacob deGrom. But when he's on, man, when Jameson Taillon's on, He's awesome. He's
I mean,
amazing.
look at the
He's
earned
fun to
runs
watch.
here, Kyle. 0-3, 6 was his bad start. 1-4, 3-2-1. I mean, he's been out there. He's been getting it done. And you know what else he does? He eats innings for you. He's out there almost every outing. He's out there a minimum of 6. He's only got to the 7th once this year, but he's gotten to the 6th, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's gotten to the 6th inning 5 times this year. So he's giving you innings. He's keeping that bullpen fresh, and he's keeping you in ball games.
And he's even better at home. He's even better at home. When he's pitching at home, when Tyan's at home, he's a badass, man. I don't think there's a team in baseball who wants to play Tyan in Chicago, man. I think, like I said, he gets a really bad rep from Cubs fans. A lot of Cubs fans don't like him. We've had conversations about Tyan where they probably would be construed as negative, but he's like the Andrew Shaw, like he's the guy that, like, maybe he's not the best in the world, but he just is the nitty-gritty work. He gets the job done. He just finds a way to have success. I love Jameson Tyan, man. And when Sean, when they first made the trade, I was not a big fan of it because it felt like the Cubs were bargain shopping. Like there were so many good pitchers and free agents that year, and the Cubs signed Jameson Tyan. I've been thoroughly impressed, and I think, Sean, I think you were the one who told me this. Since he's joined the Chicago Cubs, in that span, I think he has like the 12th best ERA in all of baseball.
He does.
That's nothing to be ashamed of in any way, shape, or form.
Stat from
and Cubs fans shouldn't have expected him to be top 5 ERA in all. 12 is fantastic. When they signed Tyan, I was expecting 20 to 24, somewhere in there, like 20 to 24th best ERA of all starting pitchers of baseball over the last 5 seasons, 4 seasons, whatever it is. I'm ecstatic with 12. I think that's amazing. And
he has been. I'm trying to find it. I had it in here because he was with some stellar pitchers' names. I don't remember which week I found that, but yeah, he is among some of the best pitchers in baseball since joining the Chicago Cubs. And you wouldn't expect that because he gets a bad rap for bad starts, but people also forget other pitchers had bad starts too. I think it rears its ugly head because of the big time contract and the fact that the Chicago Cubs have just haven't been able to keep pitchers healthy. So I think it adds a little bit more pressure to these starters.
I think because when he was paid, he probably was considered like the most prominent, like the best pitcher on the Cubs, right? So people expected him to be a 1. I always knew he was a 3. But here's the thing: is like there was times where I was like, he's a 4. Not only is he a 3, he's a damn good 3. He's a damn good 3, man. I know the Cubs use him as a 4, and if they're healthy, he's probably their 5. But he would be the best 5 in baseball. He would be the best 5 in baseball. He's a damn good 3, man. I don't know.
I would be counting
counting
on him in the playoffs, guys.
I like what Bruce says. He's just a grinder. He's just like that pillar of consistency. He's the guy that gets overlooked a lot, but he's always there. He always does his job. He's always somebody the Cubs can rely on. Like Sean, you said earlier, like he's going to be there every 5 days. He's going to give up 2 or 3 runs and give you a chance to win every ball game he pitches. Outside of the occasional bad start that he has every season, and he has one it's basically like every 2 months where Jameson Tyan just has a really bad game, and you could tell immediately the second Jameson Tyan takes the mound, you're like, oh, here we go. There's not gonna be a good day for Jameson Tyan. But outside of those 3 or 4 starts a season where it kind of all seems to fall apart, he is just a pillar of consistency, man. He really is. And with the injuries that this team has sustained this season, thank God for Jameson Tyan, man. Thank God for Jameson Tyan, because you guys, Sean said earlier, Chicken Little, sky is falling. The Cubs are one starting pitching injury away from a total disaster here. I mean, where would you go if the Cubs lost Shota Imanaga for a month? Who's pitching? Assad? If Shota Imanaga gets hurt and Assad becomes a part of this rotation, the Brewers are going to take a lead on the Cubs in this division. I promise you that.
Yeah, and they still might. Because let's be honest.
We've already been destroyed by injury. I mean, how long can the Cubs possibly keep this up where you lose a pitcher every single day and you're still one of the best teams in baseball? It's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable. No roster in baseball has 700 players. It's not sustainable, man.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find it. I can't find it, but since joining the Cubs, he's had 88 starts, 495 innings pitched, a 33-27 record, 397 earned run average, 403 strikeouts, to 116 walks, guys. That's a 3-to-1 walk to strikeout ratio, maybe a tad bit more. A 116 whip. 2023 was his worst year as a Cub. Made 30 appearances. He struggled, gave up 27 home runs over 154 innings, 8-10 record. Bounced back in 24, going 12-8, 327 earned run average, 125 strikeouts. Logged a team high 16 quality starts. In 2024, backed it up last year with an 11-7 record, 368 earned run average, a sparkling 106 whip in 23 starts. His season was interrupted. If you guys remember, he had that calf and groin injury later on in the season. And so far this year, 2-2, 394, 40 strikeouts, a 114 whip. And I mean,
there was a chunk of last season where he was remarkable.
Yeah.
It was 5 or 6 starts in a row where James Taillon was the best pitcher on the Cubs, maybe even better than Kate Horton at the time. But yeah, I mean, when you lose your 2 best pitchers, and I'd be hard pressed to count on Justin Steele to be a part of this organization this season in 2026. The Jameson Taillons of the world are the ones who saved the day, man. And it's the same as Colin Ray. I could say the same. We could have the same exact conversation about. I mean, Colin Ray, since he's joined the Cubs, and Sean. I didn't like that signing either. It felt like another bargain shopping signing, but thank God for Colin Ray, man. He has absolutely saved this. Another season, back-to-back seasons now where Colin Ray has just absolutely saved this team. He not only is he filled in and been a massive innings eater, but he's been really damn good. He's been really damn good, and I think Cubs fans need to pay more respect to the Jameson Taillons and the Colin Rays of the world, because without those guys, we would not be in first place in the NL Central. No doubt about it.
That's 100%, man. I mean, he was spectacular, and he does shine, like you said, at home, and that's a beautiful thing, because you're going to have to compile some kind of a guy who can either be in your rotation, or a guy, if a pitcher gets in trouble, a guy you can trust to bring in out of that bullpen in a 5-game series, especially if you make a trade for Freddie Peralta and you're going Peralta, Ben Brown, and Edward Cabrera or Shota, excuse me. Then you still have that arsenal of Cabrera and JMO coming out of the bullpen, and when you look at an excellent 121 whip at home for Jameson Taillon since joining the Chicago Cubs. The guy's been a savior, much like Colin Ray, as you touched on, Kyle. They keep doing this, but as we touched on earlier, as this time goes by, you want to see either a deal with the Minnesota Twins, the San Francisco Giants, the New York Mets.
Well, and let me tell you something, guys. Sean, earlier you said the AL Central sucks and the Twins are still in. Listen, the Twins were just trying to give away guys last year. They even if they are in the AL Central, they're not going to go to the trade deadline and acquire a bunch of talent. They know they're not a World Series caliber team. They're not even close. They were dumping guys last year. The Twins are going to start trading guys away at some point. There are pitchers on the Twins that are available to the Chicago Cubs, and you're starting to. I mean, man, when you look at the AL, I think there's a lot of pitchers of it. I mean, a lot of those teams in the AL just suck. They're just not good, man. And I think there's going to be a lot of really good quality pitching available to the Chicago Cubs. The question is, Sean, at the end of the day, is how much do you want to spend? How much of this farm system are you willing to part with? That's the question.
You look at it this way and say, I've said this since the beginning of the season, and I still maintain, as good as this offense is, I want another bat. Because when you look at the Braves, you look at the Dodgers, your holes in this lineup. And I don't want to say Mo Baller because got off to a hot start. He's a rookie. He's going to go through this. His batting average has dipped, 75 points.
He's got to make an adjustment.
He's got to make an adjustment. My thing is here, get another quality bat in this lineup, maybe make a trade. I think that if you don't, I still think the Cubs should be okay, because like we talked about, Kyle, the game against the Braves, the last one where it was a 2-0 victory. That's more likely what you're going to see in the playoffs. And when you look at playoff baseball, your bullpen is more important than your starters. These are statistical facts. Your bullpen eats up more innings in playoff series than your starting pitching. So if you don't go get a front-end starter, do you have enough here is the question. I say no. I think, Kyle, you say no. But if you can build up that bullpen and you can get through 4 or 5 innings with, say, an Edward Cabrera, a Jamison Tyon, and then you get to a lockdown bullpen, I think you can hang with any team in baseball. I mean, some facts are facts. And
You
if you go-
can.
if you go back to the past 20 years, it's playoffs are bullpen dominant. They're not starter dominant. It's just facts, guys.
Yeah, baseball's changed. But, the higher the velocity, the shorter these guys go into games. You're not getting complete games anymore in Major League Baseball. The bullpen's gotten more and more important as the seasons have gone on. Right now, it is certainly the most important it's ever been. That's why you see the teams with the best bullpens win World Series. That's how it works, man. But when it comes to the offense, I agree, Sean. They could certainly use another bat, but it's kind of the Cubs are in a tough spot because you just don't know what you got. Like, who's Moises Ballesteros? Who's Pete Crow Armstrong? If these guys hit their ceilings, I don't think you need another bat. If PCA finishes this season off like he started last year, and Moises Ballesteros gets back to that 290 average, I don't think you need another bat. Because I think Bregman, Suzuki, and Bregman. I still don't think Bregman has played the best he's going to play in a Cubs uniform.
He's gonna come around.
I mean, the home run's got to come at some point. This guy's hitting 20 home runs every single year of his career. All of a sudden, he can't hit them anymore. I don't believe that. I think that at some point, Alex Bregman's going to become the guy you paid him to be. He's going to be the leader, and he's going to put this team on his shoulders. I think he's going to do that. But you just don't know. What do you expect from PCA? What do you expect from Michael Bush?
I'll say this, man. I'm not gonna push for a bat like I did at the beginning of the year. I thought the Cubs would be able to score. I didn't think the offense would be as good as it is, and I think the offense is pretty gosh darn good. So I don't necessarily say, hey, you need to trade for a bat. But hey, man, if you're in a trade scenario, say with the Dodgers, or not the Dodgers, the Twins or the Giants, and they want to throw in a bat, and you got to throw in a conflict and going all in,
sure.
Do it.
And Sean, I hate to say this because I know you're this one's going to bother you a little bit, but it's probably time just to throw some flowers to Ian Happ, man, because you talk about how Jamison Tyon's been that pillar of consistency for the Cubs pitching rotation. Ian Happ's kind of been the same thing for the Cubs lineup, man. I mean, dude, he now has 2 games. When you talk about that win against Chris Sale and the Braves, Ian Happ has 2 games now where the Cubs won 2-0 and he scored both runs. And both games he had a home run, so that was solely him. And the other game he was driven in. Ian Happ is winning games for this team, man. He is for this team, man. And usually in the past we've talked about how, he still has the 240 batting average, Sean, but the hits are much more important. They're much.
Yeah, and the walks are picking back up.
Yeah, and they're clutch, high leverage hits. Yeah. I mean, did he hit that home run off Sale?
No. Sale didn't give up any. The last Braves game, the first run was unearned. So
all right, so the home run was off of
it was off the reliever, whoever the reliever was.
Oh, yes. Either way, man. I mean, and I might want to make this an Ian Happ show, but it's time for Cubs fans to start throwing some flowers, man. I mean, Ian Happ's been really, really important to this team this year. He's probably solely responsible for 3 wins this season. Solely responsible for 3 wins.
Home run was a former White Sox, Ronaldo Lopez.
Yeah, it's just we've talked about it's like, Sean, it's it's crazy is Ian Happ has basically the same numbers he always has, but the difference is, and this is what we've always talked about when it comes to Ian Happ, the difference is they're timely, clutch, high leverage, huge, massive hits that the Cubs absolutely desperately need, and he's finally finding a way to do that.
Do you think he listened to the Northside 9 and he was like, I'm gonna show these guys, because Kyle and I went to a ball game last Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays ago, and Ian Happ put on a show for us. Yeah. I'm like, Kyle, I think he knows we're here.
Yeah, and Sean, the last 2 weeks when the Cubs have been in this little bit of a slump, the only guy that hasn't really seemed to bother is Ian Happ. Like Ian Happ's like, hey, man,
you went 5 hitless games in a row. So
yeah, well, that's true. But then when the Cubs had, what was the game where they had 6 hits and he had 4 or whatever it was, or he had 3 and a walk? I'm like, he just sums his own. Ian Happ goes through his own ups and downs, right? Like
Ian Happ has earned the respect, and you know what, Kyle? I wanted to do this with you really quick, and it's just a quick exercise because it's ahead of this Brewers series, because I kind of want to do this with you next week too. So far through 2 weeks of May, let's hand out some grades really quick. I'm just going to give you some names on this team. Tell me give me A through F. and I'll give you mine. You give me yours. Chime in if you like. Let's start at the top of the list. Alex Bregman.
Well, solely due to expectations, B minus.
I'm at a C minus. I'm at a C minus. The power
That's
numbers.
because of expectations, though, because he
Because of
hasn't really
expectations.
been that bad of a baseball player. I think he's still like number 2 in the Cubs in hits. It's just the expectation. That's the problem. Like you expect more from Bregman because you've seen him do it for so long. It's like, but Bregman's just going through it. I know for a fact if there's one guy in the Cubs, I am not worried about Sean. It's Alex Bregman.
I'm with you.
I'm not worried.
PCA.
Ooh, Cubs fans, you're not gonna like this one. C minus.
C minus. I'm gonna give him.
That's just on offense. He's always an A+ on defense. Always.
I was gonna say I'm gonna even it out with the offense and saying that he's probably the best defender in all of baseball. I'm gonna give him a B.
And
I'm
base
gonna give
runner.
him a B.
He's also one of the best base runners in all of baseball. He turns a routine single into a double often. I'm sorry, man. Just with what's starting to scare me about PCA is it's like, I'm okay with inconsistent because I think everybody kind of thought PCA was going to be inconsistent, especially the power. And it probably hit for 260 somewhere around there. But what's scaring me about PCA is I'm seeing more of last year's second half PCA than I am last year's first half PCA. And that's just starting to scare the shit out of me a little bit.
It does scare me, but he's a difference maker on the field. So I'm gonna leave him. I'm writing down our grades as we go here. I don't know if the chat's chiming in because I'm writing on the spreadsheet.
Yeah. So Erica has PCA as C+, and she has Bregman as a B-. Bruce has a B for both of them.
Erica had a what for Bregman?
A B-. She said he's hit B-. He's hitting the ball hard.
Bruce had a
B for both of them.
B for both. And PCA, she had a what?
C+.
C+. And I'm just gonna keep a track of this and see where we are here. And Bruce had what for PCA?
B for both.
B. Oh, okay, B for both. My boy, Michael Bush.
This one's tough, man. This one's tough. Michael Bush is another guy who gets really timely hits. So even if he's struggling, it almost goes by the way. Like you almost don't even know because he has such clutch hits for the Cubs. But I mean, just Sean, if you're talking about comparison to last year, and Bush is young, so you expect him to get better every season. A B-, man. He's just I think he has not been nearly as good as he was last year. And I think the Cubs organization. Sean, you say we're missing that bat. I think the Cubs expected Michael Bush to be one of the best hitters in baseball.
I'm gonna give him a straight B because I think he's really turned it around from the beginning, and
he's been much better, much better, man.
He had that nice timely hit in the corner to bust that game open last night.
And it's not like a detriment anymore, right? Like there was a point in the season where I'm like, oh God, Michael Bush is up. Oh no, what God, please no. And now it's not like that in any way, shape, or form.
What's Erica got?
They both have Bruce and Erica both have straight B's.
B. All right, perfect.
B for Bush.
And this is gonna be my favorite one. Because I think we're both going to agree here. Carson Kelly.
A.
I am with you with an A across the board. Carson Kelly has surprised the living crap out of me. I love Carson Kelly to death.
Well, he was just, when Carson Kelly was good last year, he was great, but he was inconsistent. This year, he's just been great. There's no inconsistency at all. I mean, obviously, everybody has bad games, and you're going to face really good pitching, but Carson Kelly's been great, man. I mean, 4 RBIs yesterday from a guy that was probably considered a backup catcher before the season started. I mean, this guy
and he had the runner in scoring position. I think it was the 5th inning, and he grounded out. But then his next time at bat, he busted the ball. He ripped the bases loaded. He came up with that big knock.
He also might have my favorite stance and swing of anybody in the Cubs, man. He's just like he looks like an old timey baseball. He rocks the bat. He doesn't just leave it like Moises. He rocks it. He spins it in circles. He's got that really clean. It's almost like a golfing swing. I don't know, man. The more Carson Kelly is on, the longer he's on this team, the more I like him, man. Erica's got a B+, and Bruce has an A.
Bruce has an A. I'll tell you this. He's certainly my favorite interview on the team. His eyes are so I love when Carson. I love when he's interviewing, dude.
I love, dude, and he's been absolutely remarkable at challenging pitch. I mean,
Yeah, he missed one yesterday, which is an oddity.
And Sean, it's something we never thought about when it comes to the Carson Kellys of the world. How valuable how much value does that add? We're not used to challenging pitches. We've never seen this shit before. We don't know how much this actually impacts the game, and I'm sure they'll dig into statistics and metrics to come out with. They'll quantify how much these challenges impact the game. But Carson Kelly has been an absolute badass at challenging pitches. And you guys, you know what Carson Kelly is to me? You know what it seems like to me? It seems to me like Carson Kelly expected to be a backup catcher, so he plays with no pressure.
Yeah,
I just feel like he just goes out there and has fun. And he's like, hey, man, if I end up being the backup catcher, that's what I was supposed to be anyway. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to go out there and be me. And I think that if the Cubs if every Cub on this team, PCA, had that mentality, this team would be a lot better.
Here's one that I'm interested in.
You guys, you're not going to like this one. You're not going to like this one.
Dansby Swanson.
You're not going to like this one, guys. You guys, I'm sorry. Listen, I knew when the Cubs signed Dansby Swanson, he was probably the worst of those three big shortstops they were considering that offseason. When you talk about Carlos Correa, you talk about Alexander Bogaerts, and you talk about Dansby Swanson. I think I knew that they were signing the best defender, but the worst offensive player, all three of them. But this is not acceptable. 189 or whatever he's hitting on this season is not acceptable, guys. You cannot pay a guy $175 million for him to come here and hit 189. It's not acceptable. And you guys, when Dansby's bad at the plate, he's bad, man. It's bad at swinging at non-competitive pitches. Yeah. I mean, it's just bad.
Dude, on this road trip, dude, I'm sitting in my hotel room, dude, watching this guy. I'm like, he's swinging at pitches 6 feet off the plate, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Well,
the ball started off the plate and finished further away from the plate, and he's like extending his whole body. Like, bro, you're never gonna hit that pitch.
Yeah, and you know what's even more frustrating is like he played his worst against the Brewers. Like, dude, that's the team that got rid of. You're supposed to go beat the shit out of them, dude. Like, I wasn't good enough to stay here. You guys were so quick to get rid of me. I'm gonna go in there and beat the shit out of you. He looked the worst he's ever looked against the Braves. I'm like, oh my god, what? The dude, when he does that, where he reaches across, like Sean, what you're talking about, where he reaches his butt sticking out, hips. I cannot stand that, man. It looks like a little kid. It looks like a little kid playing baseball. It drives me absolutely insane. Like, dude, never at a point in your career should your body be in that position. You're not going to get a hit in that position. That's never going to happen. You're never going to hit a ball hard enough to get out of the infield when you're reaching across home plate like that, and your head is basically at the umpire's waist.
Yeah.
You're never going to hit a hit like that. It's never going to happen. Stop doing that. Get rid of that.
It's the slappiest swing structure I've ever seen in my life, honestly.
I would rather
worse for Javi Baez, dude.
I'd rather you strike out with the bat on your shoulder and the ball down the middle. Like, do not swing at those pitches 3 feet outside. It absolutely drives me crazy. It's Javier. Yeah, Sean, you took the words. It was Javier Baez's forte. Do not ever put your body in that position and try. You know what? At least Javier Baez was strong enough where if he did nip one of those, he could get it out of the infield. Dansby Swanson's not. No. Stop swinging at those pitches. For me personally, guys, you're gonna hate me for this, Sean, but because of the defense, I'll be a little nice here. C-, man. If D+.
Oh, you're higher than me.
Yeah, D+ maybe. But Sean, the defense, I mean, it's just so good.
I have him as a straight D because of the defense. I saw
Sean, the game we were watching, was that the game we were watching at Rookie? Those 2 back-to-back plays he had. That spin around.
We were there.
Was that the one we were at?
That's the game we were at.
But then it was like 2 days later he had back-to-back plays like that again. Back-to-back, man. Again. That's 2 days later he did the same shit. I'm like, man, he is you guys, everybody in the world thinks Dansby Swanson is one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball, maybe ever. And it's still underrated. His defense is still underrated. What he does is, I think the problem with baseball is these guys make it look so easy that people think it's easy. The plays that Dansby Swanson makes on defense are ridiculous, unbelievable. But man, it's almost impossible to watch him in the batter's box. Like, it drives me insane. I'm like, oh god, I can't watch this. There were times where I would look away because I know Dansby Swanson's going to strike out on 3 ugly pitches.
We just talked about this guy, so we don't have to go too in depth with him. But
well, Sean, breaking news: Bruce had a C and Erica had a D.
So we got 2 Ds. We got 2 Ds and a C and a C-. How about Ian Happ?
Mr. Consistent, man. I just said he's kind of like the Jameson Tyne of the lineup. I'm gonna go B.
I gave him a B. I gave him a B plus. I'm giving him a B plus because he has.
I love the walks. I love the clutch timely hits. I don't
Yeah.
like the 240 batting average.
Yeah.
I'll give him a B. I'll go B.
What do you got, Bruce and Erica?
Bruce has an A and Erica has an A minus.
Whoa, Erica! That's a
Erica's
surprise.
just coming around, man.
I'm digging it though.
I think we've changed Erica's complete outlook on the Chicago Cubs this season. She's
Well,
like, you guys are making me a believer.
We're gonna have fun with this one because 5 games in, we were like, get this guy off the gosh darn team. But I'm giving him an A plus because he's been nothing short of spectacular.
Oh, A plus. You're talking about Michael Conforto. It's
Yeah, I'm talking about Michael Conforto.
It's an A plus, man.
Where you
Sean,
guys at?
all he can do is get his one at bat a week, and every time he does, he makes the opposing pitcher pay. Michael Conforto has been probably the best pinch hitter in all baseball. I mean, is there another pinch hitter in baseball hitting over 300 right now? I don't think so.
No, he's
I
in
don't
the
think
top
so.
of all of baseball with his batting average.
Yeah, I think he's the only pinch hitter. You guys, pinch hitting, anybody who's played baseball is really hard. Really hard to come in, sit on the bench all game.
Tell you that.
Yeah, sit on the bench all game, watch the game, and then you have to come in and usually face one of the best relief pitchers on their team. Hey, that's an A plus, man. Michael Conforto's been awesome. It's been amazing.
Erica, I got an A plus. You got an A plus. Erica's got
A minus.
A minus.
Oh wait, no, Erica's A plus. Yeah, sorry, that was the last one. Yeah, Erica's got A plus, and Bruce has an A.
Okay. Michael Conforto, super bench piece.
I want Michael Conforto here as long as he keeps doing what he's doing. I want him here through the playoffs. I want him here the entire time. And he is our Sean. Who is the Cubs? Who is their best pinch hitter of all time? The guy who he just came in and hit bombs. Tommy. You know what I'm talking about? Conforto's having the same type of season. He was on. I think he was on the 2015 team. It was Tommy something.
Give me a second.
Tommy Listella. Yeah, Tommy. Nice, Bruce. That was fast, Bruce. Bruce had that name ready, bro. He has like that Tommy Listella vibe, man. It's like, hey, man, you're never going to be a starter on this roster, but when you pinch hit, you are dangerous. Tommy Listella was a badass on the Cubs.
How about super utility man Matthew Shaw?
I'm giving Shaw an A, man.
I have him as a B.
This guy's gonna play.
Excuse me. You have him as an A. I have him as a B plus. Just because he's still a little stagnant against right-handed pitching. I mean, he absolutely
but Sean, he
left-handers.
plays a game at catcher. He's played every position on the field.
I'm giving him a B plus. He's right on that. I just want to see him get that tick up against right-handers, and I'll change him to an A. I absolutely love Matt Shaw. I don't have too many problems with his game. What do Bruce and Erica have for him here?
Bruce has an A, and Erica has a B.
Erica. I
love Matt Shaw, man. I hope Matt Shaw at some point in his career becomes an everyday player for the Cubs. I love Matt Shaw. I think he's only going to get better too.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. If I hear anything else, because I already wrote these in on everybody's name for this particular player, and if I hear anything else, I think I'm going to disqualify you from the conversation.
Well, Sean, here comes Sean's boy. Say it's Suzuki.
Nope, not Suzuki. Not yet. He's next. He's the next guy on the list. One, Nico Horner.
Sean, what is there? Is there something higher than an A plus? Does that ever exist in academics? Has there ever been anything higher than an A plus, guys? Whatever that is, that's Nico Horner. Nico Horner is the heart and soul of the Chicago Cubs. It's not debatable.
This is why I said if
you can have your favorite player. I don't give a shit. Have your favorite player. You can. I love PCA. I love Alex Bregman. I love Michael Bush. Go ahead. I don't give a shit. Nico Horner is the best Cub, guys. That's not a question. Not a question. Not a question.
All right, now. This is where we may differ a little bit. I took the A plus off. I gave him an A. That's right, my boy Seiya Suzuki. Where we at? I think Bruce is gonna be an A plus. But
Suzuki is so tough, man. It's so tough. Seiya might be the death of me one day, guys.
A plus.
A plus. That a boy, Bruce.
I'm gonna go A minus.
A minus. Okay, I'll accept that. Where are you at? Where's Eric at?
It's just A.
Oh man, C plus.
Whoa, Erica.
Whoa.
Erica.
Damn. We're watching the same guy.
Yeah, Suzuki's been really good, Erica.
Yeah, man.
been really good. I mean,
backup catcher, and
Sean, the
Sticky.
defense. I hate the defense, man. I can't watch him play right field. It
he
drives me
struggles,
insane,
man.
dude.
But he's
It drives
actually
me
had a
insane.
couple of better plays this year.
Dude, he should have caught that ball yesterday, guys. He should have caught that ball yesterday.
Oh, that double that went over his head.
Yeah, you should have caught that ball, man. You made a late break on it. Like Seiya, you got to be better in right field, man. You got to be. Seiya's right field play might hurt the Cubs in the playoffs, man. He's got to get better at right field. Man.
How
Scares
about
me.
backup catcher, split time catcher, Miguel Amaya?
Is he still on the team? Is it just me, man, or can you watch a whole game where Miguel Amaya starts and you don't even know he started? Like it's crazy. Like another guy who's consistent. I mean, Miguel Amaya. I wish he was a little bit better at the plate, but he's a damn good catcher. I'll give Amaya a B minus.
Oh, okay. I had you down for a C. I got to change you. I have him as a C.
Maybe a B.
I would have had him a little bit higher, but his plate, him at the plate lately. I mean, he's really dumped off. He was hitting 300. He's down to like 240. Maybe it's due to inconsistent play.
Let's see how well Bruce knows me, because he got the Tommy Listel comparison like that. So Bruce, who am I about to compare Miguel Amaya to?
Shohei?
No, a catcher who used to play for the Cubs. Who does he remind you of very much?
Who?
Oh, Giovanni Soto?
No.
No.
Backup catcher. Who's a backup catcher that played for the Cubs recently? Miguel Amaya to me is like, it's almost like the same guy, man. It's like all over again. Played for the Brewers as well. Victor Caratini.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
He reminds me a lot of Victor Caratini, man. Like he does his job, but he doesn't really ever make like a major impact on the game in any way, shape, or form. He did have that walk-off home run, was that last year or year prior, but outside of that, Miguel Amaya is just kind of like there. It's just there. Very, very Victor Caratini vibes from Miguel Amaya.
How about Mo Balla?
I mean, Sean, I gotta go A minus, because I know people are gonna be like, man, there's been times where he's been terrible, but guys, he's like 22 years old. I mean, and I think when he gets his shit together and he makes the appropriate adjustments after major league pitchers make adjustments to him, I think he's still gonna be one of the best hitters in baseball. I'm going B minus, and I think that's only because of inexperience. I think if this was this was Moises Ballesteros' second year starting, like next year, like obviously it's going to be a lockout, but the next year he starts when he's got that experience and he's used to major league pitching and the game's settled down for him a little bit, I think Moises Ballesteros is going to be an absolute badass. I'm going,
Where you at, Erica? Where you at? I got him as a B plus. I would have had him as an A. The slump's a little,
it's tough to watch and it's disappointing, man. But yeah. He's just got to make adjustments, and they're having these conversations with him every day, guys. I guarantee you, every day they're pulling mobile, and they go, "Hey, Mo, you're going to go through. You're going to go through this. It happens. There's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. Just stay consistent. Keep that confidence. You're a damn good hitter. Go out there and be it. Be you, man."
I'm not down on him at all. I'm giving him a solid. Just under an A for me.
You guys, there's no validity behind this. I don't know why I think this, but to me, I don't know why, but I feel like Mo Baller is going to be one of those guys who is his best, like in the playoffs. Like I think he's just going to absolutely, like Kyle Schwarber in 2016. I think he's just going to like erupt in the playoffs, man.
And I have a feeling we don't even need to expand on this one too much, because this is another one that should be A's pluses across the board. Shota Imanaga.
A plus.
Oh, dude.
A plus all the way across. We just talked about this guy. As well. Jameson Taillon, I have him as a solid A. I'm going A all day.
I'll go A minus just because of that bad start, but yeah, A minus.
A minus, A.
Erica, we all have A plus for Shota. I think that's a question. Erica had a B for Mo Baller, and then Taillon, she's got a B plus.
Plus, that's solid.
That's bad.
We have three more, and one of them is going to be A pluses across the board, or at least it should be. What did she have? B plus on Taillon?
Yeah.
B plus on Taillon. All right, this is where it gets interesting.
This is fun, Sean. I'm glad you did this.
It is.
Two big acquisitions for the bullpen. Kyle, I know you're not a big fan of this guy, but he certainly turned it around here just a little bit. Jacob Webb.
C.
B. I go with B.
Bruce, you're gonna go B?
Yeah.
That's way too early to forget about who he was in the beginning of the season, man. Way too early. It's not a big enough sample size of him being good to forget about how bad he was to start this season. The Cubs should have 3 or 4 more wins on their record if it wasn't for Jacob Webb, man. I'll go C.
I'm right there with the. I gave him a C+ because his last few performances, he's starting to turn into the guy that we thought he was. And against Atlanta the other day, he looked fantastic. So I'll give. If he can continue,
Listen, if he can continue to do what he's done over the last 3 weeks, he's going to get A+ because I don't think he's given up a run. But man, I can't. It's just too fresh in my mind to forget how bad he was to start the season. Erica gives him a C.
Jacob Webb for Erica is a C. So we got C, C+, C, and what you have, Bruce?
C.
A C?
Yeah.
Philip Maton.
Oh. I'll give it a C.
C-. Maybe a D+, man.
Hell, you're gonna like me here because I'm giving him a D-. He's gonna have to earn it from me. His curveball. Hey, look, man. We talked about this on the phone the other day, Kyle. The Cubs got him because his curveball coming to Chicago is one of the best curveballs, if not one of the best curveballs in all of baseball. So far this year, it's been flat. I know he came off the DL and he had 5 straight good performances. He blew it in Atlanta for me. If he didn't blow it in Atlanta and he held that game, I'd probably have him up at C+. But blowing that game in a big-time opportunity against a big-time opponent dropped him down a whole grade for me. I'm leaving him in the D-. Hopefully when we do this in a couple weeks down the road, I can move that number up. But for me, I'm keeping him at the bottom. He's also my biggest disappointment on this ball club outside of Edward Cabrera.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it would have been a D+, but I'll give him the C- because the next game, back-to-back games, he pitched in that Chris Sale game and he looked really good. So
he did.
Just because that was the most recent one, I'll stick with my C-. But Sean, Erica gives him that D.
Give him what?
Erica gave him a D.
A D.
I'll give it a C. So.
You gave him a C, Phil Maton?
Yeah.
All right, we have actually 2 more. Edward Cabrera. This one's interesting about what we're going to give him a grade so far this season.
C.
C. Yeah.
I think Edward Cabrera being a C is the most confident of any of the grades I've given outside of the A+. He has just been average, and C is average. It's the definition of average. C.
My grade is also a C because he has been an.
Damn, Erica, you are rough. You are rough.
What did she put?
D-.
Man.
I mean, there's a case to be made for a D-.
Well, but you're making the D- based off of expectations, not what he's actually done. Like, because you guys, he's not been a D- pitcher. He had 4 starts in a row where he gave up 3 runs. That's a quality start. You should win that ball game. Yeah, it just hasn't been what they want him to be. That's the problem. Erica says she just doesn't think he's good. Hey, listen, Erica, I'm not hating on you. If that's your opinion, I respect it. I think he's been a little bit better than Cubs fans give him credit for. He's just frustrating. That's the problem. He's frustrating, and that's fresh in your mind. When you think about Cabrera, you think about the emotions you get when you're watching him on the mound, and I get it. I totally understand it. But I'll give him a C.
The last one on the board, and I have a feeling, and I saved this one for last because I had a feeling that we might have a clean sweep. Who's the guy I forgot?
Ben Brown, A++.
A. I'll give it an A.
An A?
Yeah.
A?
An A?
Ben Brown.
A+, Bruce.
A+.
Yeah.
A+. Here, you know what?
I haven't given up a run in like a month.
Here,
What you got to do?
I'm giving Ben Brown an A++. He's the only player on this board.
Yeah,
and you know what? I'm going to revisit this, and I'm giving
Nico gets an A++.
I'm giving Nico Horner an A++ as well.
Yeah. Nico and Ben have been their best players. Ben's been their best pitcher. Shonen Imanaga and Ben Brown are the best pitchers, and Alex Bregman and Nico Horner.
Okay, fine. C-. We love you, Erica. You're the best.
Erica, thanks. Erica's been here for the whole show. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, we love
Erica. She's the only person. Her and John are the only 2 people that showed up today. We appreciate you. I don't know. We're still trying to figure out this Northside 9, Erica. We don't know if Sunday nights were better or Saturday afternoon. It's tough, man. And the Cubs just don't pay the bills like the Bears do. But I love this show, and I love talking to you.
I love
Sean and
second
Bruce
Cubs.
and Erica. I love the fact that you're in the chat and you're active. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, so two orders of business. Those grades are fine. I'm going to save them, and we're going to bring them back. We're going to bring them back closer to the All-Star break, right before the All-Star break.
Let's do it like once a month.
Okay, we'll do it once a month. I'm
Yeah.
liking where the Cubs are because exception of a few players, there's some high grades
Yeah.
across the board. And you know what? I'm sorry, I forgot to put Daniel Palencia on there. I think we can add him really quick, and I'm gonna give him an A.
Yeah, I'm giving it. I'll say A minus.
A+.
I can't believe I forgot Daniel Palencia.
I'll say A minus.
A minus. I'm giving him.
But A+.
I'm gonna give him an A minus because he gave up that home run the other day.
Yeah, well, and you know, Sean, whether it's his fault or not, and whether availability and durability is that's part of your grade as an athlete. So you know the fact that he's already missed almost a month of the season, E minus. But when he's there, he's awesome. But you got to be there. You got to be there all the time.
Bruce,
Erica gave me an A as well.
All right, so let's take care of this. What's coming on, and let's get our predictions before we get to this big time Brewers series. We got 2 left with the Stinky Sox on the south side. We got a big dub in Game 1, and we got their best on the mound. Like I said, a sub-1.
Yeah, sorry, Cubs fans, but man, Davis Martin is good. Yeah, I'll take the Sox tonight at home in their ballpark. Davis Martin's been their best player this season outside of Montgomery. I'm taking the Sox to win. I'll take the Cubs to win Game 3, Sean.
I'll take 2 though. 2-0.
Of course you will, Bruce.
Bruce, I'm sticking with you. I think that the Cubs are going to find a way to put some pressure on him and get into that Sox bullpen.
Well, hey man, Erica said earlier, hey JMO, you're in Chicago.
Yep.
You're basically home.
Yep.
You're basically home, bro. These guys all slept in their own beds last night, so it's the same routine as if you're playing on the north side, right?
Bruce, you're going 2-0. I know you're going 2-0. I picked the sweep last week. I'm gonna stick with the sweep. I think the Cubs are gonna sweep them up here. I think that Davis Martin's gonna have a good outing. I'm not gonna discredit him as a pitcher. I think the Cubs will apply some pressure like they did with Chris Sale and many other good starters. I think maybe inexperience will play a role here. Maybe he'll leave one across the plate, and then you get into that Sox bullpen, and I like the Cubs even more, so I'm going to stick with the Cubbies here.
And another thing about the Sox is the Sox are tough to predict because they there's so many good things for the Sox going great for the Sox right now, but man, their defense is just bad.
Yep. Yeah, and Vargas had that ball. Although that was a smash, dude. That was a smash off the bat, dude.
It's not just that, man. It's clunky. They're young.
They're young.
They're not. They don't turn double plays fast enough. It just doesn't look the same as, especially if you're a Cubs fan. You know, you watch the best in the world, and you go watch the Sox. You're like, hey.
And then we come to the big dog, baby.
Oh,
the big one. Oops,
I
just took it off there. The big one. I'm just gonna get it out. I'm gonna get it out. I like the Cubs in the first 2 of this series. The history with Mizorowski, the Cubs have been able to get to him. I think even if the Cubs don't get to him, I think they'll work him. They'll get in that bullpen. They'll manufacture enough runs. I think it'll be a low-scoring ball game.
Yeah.
Daniel Palencia comes in.
Ian Happ scores their only 2 runs.
Yep. I'm saying 3-2 in that second game. I think the Cubs are going to pile on a couple of runs on Brandon Sprout. I think they win 6-3 in the first one, 2-1 in the second one. And the Brewers and the Cubs home winning streak in the third one because, as we've talked about all show, we can't trust Cabrera. I'm taking the Cubs 2-1 in the series and staying in Chicago, getting ready for the Astros, still in first place in the Central.
2-1, Sean. Erica's got this.
Go 2-1.
I'm 2-1. I agree with you, man. I think it's got to be the first 2 games because I think Mizorowski. I think him and Ben Brown are almost opposites. I think Mizorowski feels the pressure when he plays the Cubs. I think Ben Brown loves the pressure when he plays the Brewers. So yeah, I'll go Cubs, Brewers.
And what did Erica have there?
A sweep.
Sweet. Whoa! God,
Lots of confidence.
I'm loving Erica more and more.
Yeah, I was just about to say she gives Cabrera this terrible rating, and then she gives him the win. But she's just said right here, I think the Cubs offense picks up Cabrera in Game 3.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys, but Kyle Harris. Every great sports team has a good Kyle on it, man. Kyle Harrison is a badass.
And we only had one game. I'll finish off this series next
Another
week.
great pitcher the Cubs have to face.
Spencer Arrighetti kicks it off Friday afternoon.
He's been amazing.
Afternoon baseball returns to Wrigley Field. We got a
God, man, this stretch of from starting from today to that game right there.
Yeah, dude.
The Cubs are playing some of the best pitchers in the world, dude. Jesus.
J-Mo Tyon returns home against Spencer Arrighetti, who we got on that Friday afternoon.
I think that win.
You know, things are starting to spiral a little bit for Houston. I'll take the Cubs, man. You know, I know Carlos Correa isn't the best player in the world, but losing him for the season, I think that took a little bit of wind out of their sail, especially because they just traded it back for him last year. So, the Houston just hasn't been the same Houston we're used to seeing. I think this is probably the end of Houston's World Series run here. This is probably their last chance. So, I'm going to go Cubs.
I want to go Cubs.
Erica, we're only doing the one game.
Yeah, we're only doing the one game. We'll get next Saturday.
The other two games will be on next Saturday's show. So you just got to pick this one game, Erica.
So we're giving her 1-0.
Yeah,
we're giving her 1-0.
Yeah, because she's got 2-1. So let's just take the 66% chance that this is the
win. All right. And then, before we wound this up, this is the longest Northside 9 we've ever had.
I've had a blast, man.
Yeah, we're usually 90 minutes strong.
Oh, Sean, you've missed so much podcasting the last week.
I know. I'm back. I'll be back on Monday to break down the schedule. But as I have them on right here over my Cubs shirt, I got to give a little props, man, to Dan Fitzgerald and the entire Jayhawks nation. They broke a long, long drought and winning the Big 12 for the first time since 1949. Congratulations. Since Fitzgerald has come here in 2022, he's been turning this thing around for the Jayhawks, and he had him on the brink last year. They just missed it. Right now he has them. I think they're the number 7 team in the country last time I looked. He's got them rocking and rolling. The College World Series is right around the corner. And the Jayhawks are going to be a top-seeded program in that College World Series. I wish them all the best of the luck, continued success.
Well, guys, there is a Cubs connection here. Craig Counsell's son played for the Kansas Jayhawks. Yeah. There is.
I'm gonna say this too, man. People might want to start looking at Dan Fitzgerald because he does have a lot of major league experience as a coach. For him to come into Kansas and turn this shit program around in 4 years and have them as a top team in the country, what an impressive job, man.
The Mets should get on the phone right now. Right now, dude. I cannot believe how bad the Mets are. With how much talent is on that Mets team, how bad they are is absolutely.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Heads need to roll, man.
I'm surprised Mendoza has not been fired. To be honest,
guys, that's the third highest payroll in baseball. That's the third highest. They're in last place in the league, not in the division. In the league.
But you know what? That might work out great for us to get Peralta and Brooks Raley. So
yeah, I mean, if there is a team right now that you could probably get a package deal from, I'd say it's the Mets because I think the Mets are pretty damn close to rebuild. Here's the problem with the Mets, though, Sean. Even if every team in baseball wants Juan Soto, they're the only guys who could pay him. So nobody could take Juan Soto from them. Nobody could take Francisco Lindor what they're getting paid. No, there's not another team in baseball that can afford them. And Sean, you talk about a package deal. You said you want an extra bat in this lineup, maybe even just another guy to bring off the bench. Maybe throw Luis Robert in there. They're going to try to get rid of everybody, guys.
Well, Luis Robert's back on the DL. What a surprise!
But I mean,
he'll be back
if he's a part-time player. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I think the Brewers or the Mets are going to try to burn that thing down, man. I really do.
I'll tell you this:
just nothing works. With nothing they've tried to do has worked. It's just falling apart, man. It's
a package of Peralta, Raley, and Luis Robert. I'm going to say no more injuries for the Cubs. They're the NL Central champions. That would put the Cubs on the freaking top, dude.
And listen, I know as expensive as that sounds, right, guys? People are like, dude, the Cubs would have to trade their entire farm system. But I think all three of them are expiring contracts, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think all three of them are an expiring contract. So
I'm pretty sure Peralta is. Brooks
Peralta is for sure. I know that for a fact. Peralta is an expiring contract.
because they traded him. They traded
Erica. Erica, I wouldn't be upset with that either. She said she wants to roll as Chapman. I wouldn't be upset with that either.
Won't be upset. Bring
It
back
would be,
Magic.
yeah, it'd be awesome to have a reunion with Roll. I love Rolls. I mean, I don't like Rolls Chapman as a human being, but standing on a mound, I love Rolls Chapman, man.
Yes.
He's still a badass.
Yeah, Rayleigh signed a 1-year contract with the Mets. His contract's up. Peralta's on an expiring contract, and Luis Robert contract was. Let's see what
it was the rest of the contract from the Sox. I don't think they hit.
He is an unrestricted. He's not. He would be on the team through 2028. He signed through 2028.
Yeah, so it's an expiring contract because it's a lockout.
Oh yeah, I guess that would be an expiring contract. Well, he would go. Yeah, he would be an unrestricted free agent going into 2028. So if there was a lockout, then yeah, it would be an expiring contract. You're right.
Yep.
So giddy up, man. Don't forget. Logan Webb, I talked about him last week. Logan Webb scared me a little bit.
Logan Webb's anybody who's frustrated with Cabrera, Logan Webb has not been great this season.
Look at those numbers. If I'm looking at somebody from there, I want Gage out of that bullpen, and I want Ray out of the starting rotation.
Yeah, I think Ray's an expiring contract too. So you're talking. I mean, all the guys that we've talked about, it's good because they're not going to cost you your entire farm system, guys. You only give away your entire farm system if you're getting a guy with 3 or 4 years of control. You don't give away your entire farm system for a guy you're going to have here for 3 months. That's just not how you operate. So, Sean, is this not playing out perfectly for the Cubs? There's going to be a lot of amazing pitching readily available to the Chicago Cubs trade deadline. A lot.
And I'll tell you this. One more guy, and I've mentioned his name 1,000 times, but Bailey Ober is also on an expiring contract on a spiraling Minnesota team. May 12th, 9 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 7 strikeouts, complete game shutout. He gets through his previous 6 starts before that. He got through 6 innings. He did get roughed up by the Nationals a little bit, but when you go through his earned runs that he gives up, 0, 5 he got roughed up in the Nationals, 1 against the Blue Jays, 2 against the Devil Rays, none in 6 1/3 versus the Reds. He went against the Tigers, 2, the Devil Rays again, 3. I mean, this guy is a guy I would like to see, not a high strikeout guy, only 39 strikeouts to 15 walks, but he keeps you in the ball game and he eats innings, and that's exactly what you want to see. He does have a 10 strikeout game and 2 7 strikeout games, so he does have that ability in there, also on an expiring contract. Look for Bailey Ober. Some team is going to make a move for Bailey Ober. I promise you that.
Scooble's also an expiring contract, but I just don't think Scooble's realistic for the Cubs because, first of all, even on an expiring contract, just the fact that they're giving you the opportunity to extend him, it's going to be expensive as shit. And the Cubs aren't paying him $600 million, guys. That's what he wants. That's what he wants. He wants $600 million, and the Cubs are not going to do that. So I think Scooble is probably the most far-fetched of anybody we've talked about. But man, I'll tell you this: if you did get Scooble and he was healthy, now you're talking about a World Series contender. That's the World Series contender.
Let me ask you this, though, Kyle.
That's World Series contender.
And this is obviously hypothetical, and it's only because it's been in the news. And simple yes or no. Peralta and Rayleigh, Cubs World Series contender, or do they still need more?
No, that's a World Series contender.
Okay.
Because you're going to get Riley Martin back, right? You're going to get Caleb Thielbar back. I mean, dude, when the Cubs bullpen is Sean, we talked about this the other day. Well, their bullpen is healthy. They're damn good. Cubs bullpen is damn good. And if Jacob Webb and Phil Maton cannot be assholes, then they're a damn good bullpen.
Yeah.
The only problem with the Cubs is, I hate to say this, I don't like to speak it to an existence, man. But even if you say you add Peralta and Imanaga gets hurt, I mean, now you've sustained so many injuries to that starting rotation. You might need 2, just in case. You might need a just in case guy. You might. I'm
with Erica here, man. Go all in. Trade the farm system.
Dude, you just spent $350 million, and they're not playing baseball next year. Go all in now. Why not?
Let's do it.
I'm sorry, guys, but Sean and I have been talking Cubs for a long time, and since the 2016 World Series, Sean and I evaluated all the trades, all the prospects. I'm sick of prospects. I'm sick of it, man. It's just the only.
That's what they are. They're just prospects.
Well, and there was 50 of them, and 2 of them are here. Matt Shaw and PCA. That's it. Oh, and Mo Baller. Sorry, that's it.
How about we get these two guys rings in the same year? How about that?
Oh
How
yeah,
about that? Let's make
That'd be-
Chicago the top of the kingdom.
that'd
Did
be
you guys
awesome.
see? Did you guys see Tyson Bagent's interview where he guaranteed the Super Bowl?
No, I did not.
Oh, you gotta watch it, dude. He's like, well, I already promised my girls that we're winning, so now we have to win. He's like, you can't promise your girl shit and not do it, so we have to win in 2026. I love him.
Hey guys, and don't forget Monday we're gonna wrap this, put a bow on this thing. Cubs are on in 4 hours. 6:10 first pitch today. Martin versus Tyon. Tomorrow it's an afternoon giddy up at 1:10 on the south side before we
I think it's their only afternoon game, guys, for some time.
until Friday against the afternoon baseball returns for the Astros series when we return to that federal landmark.
They've played a lot of night games lately, man.
I'm very happy because you know what? I had to go to Minnesota for work and be around all these goddamn bosses and shit. And I'm like, man, no afternoon baseball. They couldn't have planned it in a better week for 6 o'clock starts. And now I get to go back home and be at my desk and I can put my tablet up and watch Marquee. Yes.
It sucks for me, obviously. It's the opposite. I work at night, so it sucks when they play at night because I don't get to really see any of the games. But it is what it is, man. I just got to check the box scores.
Hey, we'll be there. We'll be there all together on Tuesday for that tilt for that Mizorowski versus Ben Brown. I can't wait to sit at River Street. Well, I got to play darts. Darts are back. I'm gonna have a hard time concentrating on darts watching that pitching matchup, man. Jeff's gonna get mad at me.
God, wouldn't it be a godsend if they just put 4 on the board in the first inning against them? It would be.
Dude, it could. If both of them are on, it might be the fastest game in baseball history.
If both of them are on, it might be 0-0 going into the 16th inning, dude.
Yeah, dude, it'd be crazy. And I don't know if 2 starts are long enough to stretch him out. You know, past.
He's pitching more than 4 innings, guys. He's pitching more than 4 innings, guys. I promise you.
I just want to be careful. I
know, man, but there's a reason they knew he was going to be in this series. I bet you they consider these last 2 starts for Ben Brown to be the ramp up starts. They're going to treat him like a starter. I don't think he pitches anything less than 80 pitches against the Brewers. He's going to go 5 innings for sure.
Yeah,
and he's been the terror, man. He's been the terror versus the Brewers. Let's hope these stats hold up against him. That stellar .90 earned run average against them, and a subpar sub-1 whip against the Brewers as well. We're counting on you, Benny. You haven't let us down.
Just stay on top of it, Ben. The Brewers are going to put men on base. They're going to put pressure on you. Just stay on top of it, man. Just
stay on top of it. I mean, he's out there, man. Look at that. He's the rising phoenix, man. He's the guy that we need, and I believe he'll get there. And I believe in the Cubbies, and I believe they'll get that feel right at home on the north side and take this series 2-1 and keep this division lead that we've had for quite some time now.
What really sucks is when you start to see that Brewers run differential go up. That scares me, man.
Hey, you know what else sucks? We went 20-3. And we didn't gain any ground in the division. That's what sucks, dude. That's just like a kick in the nuts.
That's being a Chicago fan. That's how it always is. Every time a Chicago team is good, there's always 2 other teams in the division that are awesome. Always.
And don't forget, everybody, we'll be back on Monday. Hallis Hall Hangover. We're going to be talking a lot of good stuff about the schedule. We got the Iceman playing 4 or 5 former number 1 picks. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss some primetime football games. Kyle and I, Dustin, and everybody who's on. I don't know who's going to be on Monday. We're going to give our way too early predictions. We're going to get game by game on Monday, really dive into this schedule and see what we got. It's very exciting time for the Chicago Bears and very exciting time for the Hallis Hall Hangover this Monday, 6 o'clock. You're not going to want to miss it. I promise you that. But until then, let's go Cubbies. Sweep these stinky White Sox right out of the south side and come back home and keep that winning streak going against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, thanks, Erica. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Erica. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. We love y'all. Peace, and let's go Cubbies.
Okay.